Chapter 2260. Big news, big news. The main force of the Joyous Curses Palace is suppressing old ancestor, Hee. I suspect they have the power of an unrivaled expert. 6 Harmonies World's one patriarch is no match for the Mantra Palace's Joyous Mantra Palace's Mantra Palace Master. The United Sect has suffered heavy casualties and is greatly weakened. The Curse Palace has regained its former glory. After the battle in the 6 Harmony World, the influence of the Curse Palace increased rapidly. All the forces in the Cloud Prefecture world came to congratulate them. Even if they couldn't be summoned, they still wanted to leave a good impression. Old Ancestor Unity 1 was an unparalleled expert, but he still suffered a loss in the hands of Palace Lord Curse. Furthermore, he left a message for Old Ancestor Unity, one that the Curse Palace did not fear the other party. What kind of spirit was that? No matter what, the Curse Palace had become famous, and the Palace Lord, Chu Huan, had shocked everyone with a single feat. Everyone in the sacred world realized that the Curse Palace was about to rise. News of what happened in the 6 Harmony world spread like wildfire. Everyone paid more attention to the fact that the Curse Palace was far more powerful and terrifying than they had imagined. Within the Cloud Prefecture world, the Curse Palace's influence was close to Holy Lord Fu Yan's, and it became a top faction. Within the Cloud Prefecture world, only Holy Lord Fu Yan could suppress the Curse Palace. This feels great. When everyone's attention was on the Curse Palace as the Palace Lord, Curses Huan took the opportunity to leave the Curse Palace. He avoided everyone's attention and arrived at the Invincible Palace. The reason why the Curse Palace was able to rise to fame and become one of the top forces was because no one knew better than him how important Di Tian was. Without Di Tian's help, he would definitely not be able to defeat the old ancestor of Unity. Congratulations, Palace Master Curse. You've made a name for yourself in a single battle. There's no one in the Saints' world who doesn't know about the strength of the Curse Palace now. Lin Fei smiled and raised his cup, even though she knew that it was not the truth. Chu Huan was still very happy to hear it. She raised her cup and said, "Cheers." The two of them drained their cups in one go. These are the corpses of the half-step magnates and even magnates of the Unity Sect. I have brought them to you. Chu Huan didn't feel that there was anything wrong. Lin Fei didn't collect the corpses of experts from the United Sect that day. In any case, the Curse Palace would come knocking on his door. Moreover, they wouldn't leave any traces behind. Lin Fei accepted it with a smile. Awesome. Little friend Di Tian, this time around, I don't want an incantation mage. What do you want then? Lin Fei smiled. Looking at Lin Fei, Chu Huan's expression turned solemn. I think little friend is here. In order to obtain the strengthened version of the Sun-Moon double kill, I am willing to help my little friend Di Tian hunt down 20 powerhouses. Lin Fei had seen the curse technique, Sun-Moon double kill, before. It was a very terrifying killer move. If it was used to deal with a giant late-stage powerhouse, it would be extremely accurate. There was no way to block it at all. 20 great powerhouses. Your Sun-Moon double kill is too cheap. Lin Fei could more or less guess what the other party was thinking. He wanted to increase his combat strength so that he could have a trump card to fight against Old Ancestor He. Although Chu Huan had a small victory over the Unity Old Ancestor, it was merely because Di Tian had secretly intervened, causing the other party to be fearful and mistakenly believe that there was an unparalleled expert in the Curse Palace. He did not dare to act rashly. Once the other party found out the truth, they might really make a move on the Curse Palace. He had to increase his strength. If he wanted to take a shortcut, he could only think of a way through Di Tian. For this trip, Chu Huan had thickened his skin. He had to succeed no matter what price he had to pay. During the battle against the Unity Sect, Chu Huan had witnessed Di Tian's strength. Those half-step giant, spear-wielding giants were nothing to scoff at. Just by surrounding and attacking the early-stage giant powerhouses, They had a terrifying deterrent effect. Lin Fei needed a powerful ally, and the Curse Palace was undoubtedly a good one. He also needed to obtain the corpses of the experts from the Curse Palace. I will give you the strengthened version of the curse technique. It won't be too big of a problem. After all, we are partners. This time, Palace Master Chu has put in a lot of effort in attacking the Unity sect. I am very grateful for that. Lin Fei said seriously. However, I am quite interested in the powerful curse techniques that you guys have now. I wonder if I can take a look at them. For example, the Sun-Moon double kill, body of 10,000 curses, and other similar curse techniques. Lin Fei was indeed very interested in the curse techniques of the Curse Palace. Up until now, the powerful curse techniques that Lin Fei had mastered were the paralysis and great prophecy techniques. This was such a good opportunity, and Lin Fei was not willing to miss it. Chu Huan frowned slightly. He did not understand what was going on. He did not believe that Di Tian did not have any powerful curse techniques. If it was someone else, Chu Huan would have rejected him. But Di Tian was different. He had a certain relationship with the Curse Palace. He was afraid that if he rejected Di Tian this time, he would not be able to have any relations with Di Tian in the future. That would be a great loss. I am very curious. Why are you interested in curse techniques? Curse techniques are the main legacy of that era. No one can guarantee that the curse techniques that everyone has are the most primitive versions. I want to understand more about curse techniques from them. Through our curse techniques, I can study curse techniques. Is this a good reason? Lin Fei was not worried that Chu Huan would reject him, unless he did not want to miss the opportunity to strengthen the Curse Palace. Based on what you said, I agree. Chu Huan was not an ignorant person. He needed help from Di Tian. Finally, there are 15 giant puppets. Looking at the row of black-armored giant puppets, Lin Fei was very satisfied. Although he could not reach his peak, it was not a problem to surround and attack a mid-stage giant. Even if he could not win, he could still delay his opponent. It's a pity that the giant puppets' corpses are all dead. If I could bring some of them back, their combat strength would be even stronger. Lin Fei suppressed the thought in his heart. This matter could not be rushed. After keeping the giant puppets, Lin Fei flipped through the top-secret curse techniques that he had obtained from the Curse Palace. The Curse Palace had indeed obtained most of the legacy from the Curse Dao era. This was also an eye-opener for Lin Fei. It turned out that curse techniques could be used in this way. Curse technique, In Curse Finger. Curse technique, Sun and Moon Double Kill. Curse technique, Curse Cloud Arrow. This time, all the high-grade curse techniques were used, including the top-grade curse techniques. Lin Fei spent 3 days reading. The system was also calculating and analyzing millions, tens of millions, trillions, billions of calculations and analysis. Regardless of whether it was a high-grade or a top-grade curse technique, there was a possibility that they could be upgraded after analysis. This was not the end. Body of 10,000 curses. This is interesting. Among the top-grade curse techniques that Chu Huan had sent, there was one that Lin Fei was very interested in. It was the body of 10,000 curses. This was a powerful curse technique that focused on defense. Once mastered, the defensive ability would be abnormally terrifying. It was not inferior to the system's invincible defense. This made Lin Fei very happy. With the system's invincible defense, Lin Fei was very interested in the body of 10,000 curses. The former consumed a lot of energy. If he could master the body of 10,000 curses, he would consume less energy in battle. Let's give it a try first. Although Lin Fei knew nothing about curse techniques, with the existence of the system, studying the body of 10,000 curses was not as difficult as he had imagined. Chapter 2261. The battle between the Curse Palace and the old ancestor of Unity, one had attracted everyone's attention. The Invincible Palace, which was originally in a mess, was forgotten by everyone. No one would pay attention to it, and this gave Lin Fei time to develop. After all, the rise of the Curse Palace would soon affect the power structure of the prefecture cloud world. This was something that everyone could see clearly. More people were waiting for the Unity Ancestor to come knocking on their door. No one believed that the Union Ancestor would be able to tolerate this. Whether or not the Curse Palace could withstand the wrath of the Unity Sect Master had undoubtedly become a topic of concern for many people. No one had expected that after a month had passed, the Unity Ancestor still hadn't taken any action for revenge. This made everyone's jaws drop. This didn't make sense. After going through this battle, the United Sect had suffered a great blow. If they wanted to recover, they would need at least 1,000 years. And this was the shortest amount of time. If it was anyone else, they would definitely seek revenge on the Curse Palace. The wrath of a sect master level expert was extremely terrifying. 1,000,000 miles of floating corpses was considered a light punishment. However, under such circumstances, the great ancestor of the Unity Sect actually chose to swallow his anger. This was undoubtedly out of everyone's expectations. Could it be that the Curse Palace was far more terrifying than what they saw now? Ancestor, we've become the laughingstock of the Saints' world now. I can't take this lying down. Closed gate, forbidden area. Yangzi couldn't control his emotions. He didn't understand why the Patriarch didn't go to the Curse Palace for revenge. However, the person in front of him was the Patriarch, so he didn't dare to say anything. To be honest, it would be a lie if the Union Old Ancestor wasn't angry. He was tricked by the Curse Palace and had to spend a month to expel the energy from his body. At the thought of this, he was burning with rage. "Shut up!" Unity Ancestor shouted. "Look at yourself now. Do you still look like a sect master?" Yangzi shrunk his neck, not daring to breathe too loudly. "How's the investigation of the matter I asked you to investigate?" After suffering a small loss at the hands of Huan Chu, how could Old Ancestor He endure this? That day he was ambushed and his strength was suppressed. He could only helplessly let the other party leave. "Patriarch, please take a look." Yangzi didn't dare to go against the mission given by the Old Ancestor. He sent all the spies out to investigate. Everything that was related to the Curse Palace was collected. There's actually no news about that group of half-step powerhouses with spears at all. Patriarch Unity frowned slightly. The Curse Palace has really hidden themselves well. They've hidden such an elite force. Everyone is going to be shocked. "Old Master," he flipped through it and his expression turned solemn. "Does the Curse Palace really not have any cult master experts holding the fort?" "Elder Ancestor, the Curse Palace is just relying on the mysteriousness of curse techniques. I've never heard of a sect master level powerhouse holding down the fort." Yangzi was very sure. "I can also guarantee that they don't have a sect master level expert. If they did, then Sacred Master Fu Yin wouldn't have an easy time. Don't look at the sacred world. There were 33 small saint realms, and the competition in each of them was very intense. However, the sacred lords who controlled the small saint realms would definitely not allow a sect to rise. After all, 2 tigers could not live on the same mountain. This applied no matter where it was. If the Curse Palace were to rise, it would be like a ferocious tiger baring its fangs. Then this Curse Palace is really not simple. The body of 10,000 curses has been broken. Sun and Moon double kill, upgrade successful. Dark Curse Finger, upgrade successful. The curse technique had been upgraded. It was far more difficult than Lin Fei had imagined. He spent an entire month to upgrade the top-notch curse technique. The expenditure during this period was huge. Fortunately, it wasn't a unit of origin energy. Lin Fei didn't feel that much pain. Lin Fei left the Invincible Palace, passed through the void, and arrived at the World Wall battlefield. The World Wall battlefield was more or less under Lin Fei's control. Other than the central region, there were basically no dead souls being born. The guards patrolling the battlefield were not to be trifled with. Once they encountered a soul, they would swarm over and kill it. Dark Curse Finger. Lin Fei started chanting. With a flick of his finger, an illusory finger silhouette condensed and shot out explosively. With a loud rumble, it forcibly tore apart the aura and pressure of the central domain. What a powerful curse technique! Its power is several times stronger than the last time. Lin Fei opened the system to analyze the data. It was indeed several times stronger than the last time. If word got out, the entire sacred world would definitely go crazy. Curse technique, Sun and Moon double kill. The aura of the central region was extremely terrifying. But now, under the attack of Lin Fei's curse technique, an opening was torn. It lasted for a long time until the curse technique's power was completely removed. The aura of the aura returned to its original state. Let's try this. Previously, Lin Fei had mastered high-level curse techniques. In terms of grade and power, they were far from these top-notch curse techniques. He could cast them at will. Body of 10,000 curses. This curse technique was the most troublesome to break. At the same time, it was also the curse technique that took the longest time to break. Lin Fei had high expectations for the body of 10,000 curses. Once Lin Fei activated the body of 10,000 curses, he immediately experienced the profoundness of the body of 10,000 curses. It was a different kind of defense. Curses condensed into a terrifying world of curses behind him. In the center of the world of curses, there was a gigantic figure that could support the heavens. Lin Fei knew that this illusory figure was the ancestor that created the curse technique. Let me see the power of the body of 10,000 curses. Lin Fei turned into a stream of light and rushed into the central region. Wave after wave of aura of pressure came crushing over. The moment the aura of pressure met the body of 10,000 curses, it was immediately dispersed by the curse technique. Lin Fei did not need to do anything. The curse world behind him would automatically shatter the aura of pressure. This is not bad. Lin Fei rushed forward. The aura of pressure coming from the central region was blasted away by the curse technique of the body of 10,000 curses. It also made him realize why the body of 10,000 curses was the most difficult, top-notch curse technique to cultivate. The curse technique's power consumption is not bad. It's much less than activating the invincible defense. As he advanced, he experimented. Lin Fei was quite satisfied. After persisting for a while, he turned and left the central region, returning to the invincible palace outside. Oh, right, the body of 10,000 curses should be able to continue upgrading and strengthening, right? Lin Fei asked Little Devil. This is the most basic level. If Master wants to master a stronger body of 10,000 curses, you will need time to upgrade it. According to my calculations, the next level will take 3 months. 3 months? Lin Fei was not surprised. He had heard from Little Devil that the system could perform long-range calculations as long as there was sufficient energy. Then let's continue upgrading and strengthening it. 3 months? Lin Fei could afford to wait. After the curse technique was successfully upgraded, Lin Fei immediately contacted Curse Huan. In the past month, Curse Huan had been under a lot of pressure. She had become famous, but the pressure from the Fu Yin world was not small either. For example, Holy Lord Fu Yin had started to target her everywhere. She had even arranged for people to investigate the hidden strength of the Curse Palace. Chapter 2262. P.S. I've been very busy these past 2 days. Plus, I'm stuck with writing, so I haven't written much. I have no choice but to apologize. While Curse Huan was waiting anxiously, a piece of good news finally arrived. There were results on Di Tian's end. Great! When Chu Huan saw Di Tian again, she felt as she had wished. Even though there were not many changes to the upgraded curse technique, its might had unknowingly increased by several times. In fact, it even surpassed her expectations. Chu Huan could not help but smile. It was incredible to be able to push the power of the curse technique to a higher level in a short period of time. It was not that he had not tried the curse technique. Every time he deduced it, it would consume a lot of his mind. In the end, he could not hold on. After trying a few times, he completely gave up this method of hurting his mind. Could it be that this kid Ditian has a sect leader backing him up? But even a sect master level powerhouse doesn't seem to be willing to expend a large amount of energy to deduce and upgrade a curse technique. Suspicion arose in Chu Huan's heart. She did not dare to underestimate Di Tian, placing him on the same level as her. In order to get on Di Tian's good side, Curses Huan had brought 20 corpses with him. For these corpses, the Curse Palace Fiend had put in a lot of effort. Not only did they have to carry them out secretly, but they also had to avoid the attention of the major factions. Lin Fei was quite satisfied with the giant's corpse. He knew that it was not easy to obtain the giant's corpse. Palace Master Curse, if I may be so bold as to ask, if you learn the complete body of 10,000 curses, will it be the same as stepping into the unparalleled realm and gaining the strength to fight against a cult master? Now that the body of 10,000 curses has been cracked, Lin Fei will naturally have to promote it. If I don't promote it, where will I get the benefits from? Chu Huan's heart skipped a beat, and his pupils contracted slightly. It was a very subtle reaction, but it was all seen by Lin Fei. He himself did not notice it. Ah, the body of 10,000 curses. This, the Curse Palace, had received the legacy. But when it came to the body of 10,000 curses, he had always been unable to grasp it well. Especially when it came to Mantra Joy's generation, the body of 10,000 curses seemed to have become a legend. Up until now, he had yet to grasp the threshold of the body of 10,000 curses. Yes, it's the body of 10,000 curses. Chu Huan was about to lose control of his emotions. Back then, he had suspected that Di Tian had mastered the body of 10,000 curses, but he didn't dare to say anything. As for forcefully demanding it, even if Chu Huan was given 100 guts, he wouldn't dare to do something like that. Your Majesty Di Tian, the Curse Palace is willing to pay any price for the body of curses. No one knew better than Chu Huan that, as long as he grasped the body of 10,000 curses, he would definitely reach supreme realms and become a renowned cult leader in the Saints' world. Moreover, he would be one of the more powerful ones among the cult leaders. This was also why Mantra Joy had such a huge reaction. The body of 10,000 curses was very important to him. Once he successfully cultivated it, it wouldn't be a problem for him to fight against Sacred Leader Fu Yin. Recently, Sacred Lord Fu Yin was extremely dissatisfied with the Curse Palace's commotion and the extraordinary strength it displayed. He had even given the Curse Palace a warning in secret. Ha ha ha, we are partners. Good for you. Good for me. Good for everyone. Lin Fei grinned. That's easy. The 10,000 incantations body cultivation technique. I can give them to Brother Curse, but Brother Curse needs to send me 100 giants within the next year. And they have to be alive. Yes, it's that simple. The dead giants were easy to deal with, but the living giants were all overlords of a region. Wanting to capture them alive was not an easy task. Once he failed to capture them, he would have to face the revenge of a giant powerhouse. That would be quite terrifying. Mantra Joy didn't hesitate. 100 living giant powerhouses. I agree. Every one of them must be at the mid-stage giant realm. Lin Fei added, I believe that Palace Master Curse, who has stepped into the cult leader realm, naturally wouldn't care about these people. Mantra Joy had indeed considered capturing early-stage giant powerhouses. After all, they were all giant powerhouses. After hearing what Lin Fei said, he laughed dryly. As you wish, fellow Taoist. After making the oath, Lin Fei gave the cultivation technique to Mantra Joy. This guy was very happy. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he left Invincible Palace. Sacred leader Fu Yan, you're going to have a headache soon. Lin Fei grinned evilly. Everything in the sealed world was now under Lin Fei's control. Lin Fei had created a batch of giant puppets. There were about 50 of them, and they could easily kill ordinary early-stage giant powerhouses. Now, Lin Fei was about to start something important. He had to occupy a territory in the sacred world. The size of the territory could be, or it could be. The system didn't force it. Finally, Lin Fei heaved a sigh of relief. These days, Lin Fei had arranged for spies to enter the various small sacred domains. Among them, the strongest was the first layer of the small sacred domain. It was called the Heavenly Mark Sacred Domain. It was above the other small sacred domains in every aspect. Lin Fei couldn't go to the Heavenly Mark Sacred Domain to occupy a territory. That would be looking for trouble, and he would be the unlucky one. Heaven Wasteland Domain. This was Lin Fei's final choice. The weakest of all the sacred domains. The sacred leader of Heaven Wasteland had also just stepped into the unparalleled realm. It was rumored that he was currently at the first small realm. He was the easiest to deal with among all the cult leaders. Last time, the Heaven Wasteland Palace and the Nether Domain caused a big fight between the two sacred domains. They suffered heavy losses. Compared to their usual strength, the strength of the two sacred domains was not what it used to be. This was an opportunity for Lin Fei. Heaven Wasteland Domain. The usually peaceful Heaven Wasteland Domain was not so peaceful recently. The reason was simple. The son of the Heaven Wasteland Palace was killed by the people of the Nether Palace. At the same time, they also lost several half-step giant experts. They naturally couldn't take this lying down. The big fight between the two forces caused the people of Heaven Wasteland Domain to panic. After a few months of fighting, both sides suffered heavy losses. The people of Heaven Wasteland Domain didn't pay much attention to the Cursed Palace and the Unification Sect. Their attention was on the Nether Palace. From a small-scale battle at the beginning, it had almost broken out. What was originally a matter of half-step giant experts was now a matter of giant experts. Both forces wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to occupy a certain territory in the other's sacred domain and obtain resources from the other's world. The bigger the fight, the better. Quietly, a figure appeared on a mountain peak in Heaven Wasteland Domain. Master, we have chosen our target. Not long after, a few flowing lights flew over and landed in front of Lin Fei, reporting respectfully. How to occupy a piece of land was also very particular. For this matter, Lin Fei had spent a lot of time and effort. In the end, he chose to support a local power. This was the most common method, and if it was done secretly, no one would suspect it was the Invincible Palace. Who? The Zong family of Heaven Wasteland Domain. Before he came here, Lin Fei had done some research on the Heaven Wasteland Domain. If one were to talk about the inheritance that lasted the longest, it would be none other than the Zong family. Back then, the Heaven Wasteland Domain was controlled by the Zong family. Later on, the Saint Lord of the Zong family died, and the Zong family was constantly suppressed. Until now, they could only occupy a remote area. Chapter 2263. The battle between the Heaven Wasteland Palace and the Netherworld Palace had caused a series of changes within the Heaven Wasteland Domain. Under the night sky, the Zong family was brightly lit. What a vicious and merciless move. They want to wipe out the Zong family. Patriarch, we can't just sit around and wait for death. Let's go all out. Our Zong family is not that easy to deal with. We have to make them break a mouthful of teeth. The Zong family's upper echelon elders gathered together. At this moment, all the elders were furious, their eyes red and filled with murderous intent. Zong Xingtian's face was cold and gloomy. As the current clan leader of the Zong family, he had always hoped to lead the Zong family back to glory. Now that he had suddenly summoned all of them, The Zong family was undoubtedly pushed onto the path of no return. At the first moment, Zong Xingtian gathered the core elders of the family to discuss the next step. This was related to the future of the Zong family. Big Brother, the Heaven Wasteland Palace, is forcing us like this because they are afraid that we will rise again. Why don't we join the Netherworld Palace? Zong Xingshui was Sung Xingtian's younger brother and had a great influence in the Zong family. Join the Netherworld Palace? If it was not necessary, Sung Xingtian did not want to give up the foundation of his ancestor. The current situation was very bad. Zhang Di Hao, the head of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, had ordered the major forces to send a team to deal with the Netherworld Palace. As the leader of the Heaven Wasteland domain, the Heaven Wasteland Palace had the right to do so. Everyone knew what they were planning, which was to weaken the strength of the major forces. The Zong family had received the order to organize a team to join the battle at the border within a limited time. This team required 10 half-step giant experts, 3 early giant experts and 1 mid-giant expert. It was equivalent to 2/3 of the Zong family's strength. If this team suffered heavy losses at the border, it would be a problem for the Zong family to protect their foundation in the future. Big Brother, this is our only way out, Zong Xingshui advised. If we don't go to the Netherworld Palace, that bastard Zhang Di Hao will definitely use us as cannon fodder. Sung Xingtian smiled bitterly. It's difficult. Zhang Di Hao arranged for people to monitor our Zong clan's every move. If there's any movement, Zhang Di Hao will definitely send troops to attack our Zong clan. Do you think our Zong clan can withstand it? Lin Fei silently arrived in the air above the Zong clan's fief. The top forces of the past have declined. A divine sense swept over. The Zong clan's strength was fully displayed in Lin Fei's eyes. 2 late-stage big shots, 5 mid-stage big shots, and 15 early-stage big shots. Lin Fei smiled. It wasn't that difficult to control such a force. Master, they should be discussing orders from the Heaven Wasteland Palace. On the way here, Lin Fei had learned about the Zong family's situation. Currently, the Zong family was in a very bad position. If they sent troops, they would definitely become cannon fodder. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had an excuse to deal with the Zong family. Let's go meet the Zong clan. Right now, the Zong clan was in chaos. The elders continued to debate, but there was no good result. No matter which choice it wasn't a good choice for the Zong clan. It could be said that the Zong clan was in danger. If things went wrong, the Zong clan would disappear in the long river of history. This was also the reason why the Zong clan had always maintained a low profile. They had no choice but to keep a low profile. It was a pity that the Heaven Wasteland Palace didn't give them time to slowly increase their strength. Or if the Patriarch had advanced to the unrivaled realm, he would have the ability to contend with the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Boom! Just as Sung Xingtian was feeling helpless, a terrifying aura came crushing down from the meeting room. The pressure was so strong that everyone felt suffocated. What was even more unacceptable was how the other party came in without them noticing. This kind of strength was too terrifying. Get down here. Zong Xingshui was shocked, but his reaction wasn't slow. His aura surged as he raised his palm, wanting to force the other party out. This was the Zong clan's territory. How could an outsider be allowed to enter? A palm strike filled with anger was extraordinarily powerful. After all, this was the attack of a late-stage hegemon. Lin Fei smiled, allowing the palm strike to land on his body. With a pung sound, the expected situation didn't happen. Instead, a calm voice rang out, "Your strength is too light." Zong Xingshui thought he could injure the other party, but the scene in front of him caused him to suck in a breath of cold air. A sect leader-level expert? Is this the Zong clan's way of doing things? Lin Fei retracted his aura. The strength displayed by Lin Fei caused the Zong clan's elders to be shocked. To be able to block that palm strike so easily, his battle prowess was definitely close to that of a sect leader level expert. You guys leave first. Sung Shengtian stopped his second brother from continuing. He had seen that palm strike clearly, but regrettably, even with his many years of experience, he couldn't see any changes in the other party. This was obviously the best proof that the other party was stronger than him. Sung Shengtian didn't know the other party's purpose, but he didn't dare to offend him easily. He immediately made up his mind. No matter who the other party was, if they had evil intentions towards the Zong clan, no matter how strong they were, he wouldn't allow them to succeed. The elders in the meeting room all left, leaving only his second brother, Zong Shengshui, remaining behind. He kept surveying the black-robed fellow, trying to probe him with his divine sense several times, but it was blocked by a unique energy. He couldn't see through the other party's features, causing his heart to be filled with shock. He had never heard of such an expert before. Sir, now that everyone has left, can you state your purpose for coming here tonight? Sung Shengtian stared at the black-robed figure in a low voice. After failing to see through the other party's features, he completely gave up. This black-robed figure was even more mysterious than he had imagined. An opportunity, a chance for your Zong clan to rise again. I just don't know if your Zong clan has the interest or the courage to do so. Lin Fei smiled. Sung Shengtian and his brother looked at each other, a strange light flashing in their eyes. An opportunity? Sung Shengtian sneered. I'm afraid our Zong clan will have to pay a high price. In this world, you have to pay to get something back. Lin Fei wasn't angry. Don't your Zong clan want to regain the glory of the Zong clan? Or are you waiting for the Heaven Wasteland Palace to make a move on you? Whether you choose to submit to the Netherworld Palace or follow their orders, your Zong clan doesn't have a good choice. However, I have an opportunity for you that can help you get rid of the threat of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Are you willing to see the Zong clan decline in your hands? Lin Fei's words were very simple, but they were very practical at this time. They were like a knife that stabbed into their hearts. Humph, who said, we are afraid of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. If they dare to make a move, we dare to fight with our lives. Zong, Shengshui retorted, his heart feeling weak. Lin Fei said unhurriedly, the Heaven Wasteland Palace has a sect leader. Can you win? Can they win? The Zong clan brothers couldn't help but ask themselves. If it wasn't for the fact that they had no other choice, who would be willing to fight with the Heaven Wasteland Palace? They had no chance of winning at all. Chapter 2264. Faced with the threat of Heaven Wasteland Palace, the Zong family indeed had no way to resist. Leave? Fight to the end? No matter which choice it was not a perfect choice. The person standing in front of them, from the very beginning, had displayed extraordinary strength that was shocking. Sung Shengtian could not figure out the other party's strength. And most importantly, the other party must come from a great force, with a high position of power that the current Zong family could not compare to. I want your Zong family to be loyal to me for 1,000 years. The reason why he proposed 1,000 years was to make it easier for them to accept. Loyalty. This result was within Sung Shengtian's expectations. Fortunately, it was 1,000 years, which was still within the acceptable range. He only frowned slightly, but the second brother beside him was not too happy. Why should our Zong family believe you? Lin Fei chuckled. Just based on the fact that I can help you rise in the Heaven Wasteland domain. Even that person will not dare to act rashly. Furthermore, this is a good opportunity. If your Zong family rises again, the Heaven Wasteland Palace will definitely be caught in a pincer attack, and it will definitely not be easy. Hua hua hua! Lin Fei waved his hand, and the spear puppets appeared in front of the two Zong family brothers. The instant the spear-wielding puppets appeared, killing intent gushed forth. Even the two brothers from the Zong clan couldn't help but draw in a breath of cold air because they could sense a threatening aura from the spear-wielding puppets. This was an inconceivable matter, yet it actually happened right before their eyes. Just a half-step giant. Zhong Shengshui said. The conference room was not big, and there were thousands of spear puppets. Hee, I have tens of thousands of such subordinates by my side. Even a giant powerhouse can be killed. Lin Fei put away the spear puppets and replaced them with 20 giant puppets. This time, the two Zhong family brothers were shocked. If it was such a force, it was indeed not something that any force could resist. The two could not help but swallow their saliva. I'll give you 3 days to consider. You must think clearly. If you miss this opportunity, there is no more shop. The price you have to pay is only 1,000 years, in exchange for the glory of the past. This is a very good deal. Lin Fei turned and left. Big brother, this person has disappeared. Zhong Xingshui's spiritual sense had been locked onto the other party. In the blink of an eye, the other party disappeared without a trace. This was rather surprising. What terrifying strength! Sung Xingtian smiled bitterly. His divine sense had also lost its target, as if the other party had never appeared. If he wants to kill us, the consequences would be unimaginable. Both of them fell silent. Big brother, what do you think we should do? Zhong Shengshui had always followed his big brother's opinion. He would only listen to his big brother on such a big matter. Sung Xingtian's mood was very complicated. His opponent had displayed a terrifying strength right from the start. It was already shocking enough that he was able to resist a late-stage giant powerhouse's attack head-on. Not to mention, he had also released a spear puppet that contained the aura of a half-step giant. Who would dare to look down on the puppet of a giant? Let me think about it. Master, they are tempted, the little devil said. In the night sky, a figure emerged from the void. If they aren't tempted after taking on an attack, then they must be thinking of annihilation. Lin Fei smiled. As long as they are smart, they will know what to choose. Especially when the Zhong family was once the ruler of Heaven Wasteland Domain. Their descendants have fought for the glory of the family. This time, I will definitely eat them. Lin Fei naturally could not only target the Zhong family if he wanted to obtain Heaven Wasteland Domain. The matter of the Zhong family is half resolved. The other half is to make some common enemies to deal with Heaven Wasteland Palace together, the Nether Realm. Recently, the Nether Palace had launched hundreds of battles against Heaven Wasteland Palace. Both sides had suffered certain losses. Wars broke out at the border every day. Inside the Nether Realm, forces of all sizes sent out teams to cooperate with the Nether Palace in the battle. The one in control of the situation was a late-stage giant powerhouse of the Nether Palace, Elder Yu Jutian, who is also one of the most powerful figures in the Nether Palace. You are really a bunch of trash. It has been so long, but you are still blocked by the people of Heaven Wasteland Palace. The palace master is very angry. A thunderous roar came from a valley at the border. The people outside subconsciously shrank their necks. This was Elder Yu's unique way of doing things. Every time there was a roar, it meant that Elder Yu was angry. Especially during this period of time, it had become normal for him to roar every day. Inside the palace, a group of people drooped their heads, not daring to look at the black-faced Elder Yu Jutian. Tonight's roar lasted for an hour, and they were all scolded. You can all get out. Yu Jutian was dressed in a white robe, and his face was black. He looked at the people in front of him with anger. They were all a bunch of trash. Everyone ran out as if they had been pardoned. In the blink of an eye, only Yu Jutian was left in the palace. This can't go on. The palace master is very angry. It seems that we have to attack with all our strength. No matter what, we have to put a nail in Heaven Wasteland Palace. Yu Jutian said to himself, Elder Yu, I don't think your method will work. All of a sudden, a voice reverberated in the spacious palace. When Yu Jutian heard this, his expression immediately changed, but he did not make a move. To be able to sneak into the palace and listen to him, the other party's realm must be higher than his. Even if it was not a sect master level figure, it was not far from it. After all, he had mastered a trace of the great path pattern to attack. Who are you? Yu Jutian tried hard to find the other party, but the other party seemed to not exist, which scared him. You're not bad. You didn't act rashly like those damn guys. In the palace, a figure emerged, his body rippling with a trace of a terrifying aura. The unparalleled realm, sect master. As soon as he saw the other party, the trace of the aura that belonged to an unparalleled expert made Yu Jutian's expression change, and his body trembled slightly. A sect master. I didn't disturb your thoughts, did I? As a giant late-stage expert, Yu Jutian was infinitely close to the unparalleled realm, but he was still a step away. If a sect master level figure wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. He completely lost his temper, and a respectful expression appeared on his face. No, Lin Fei was secretly proud. Imitating the aura of an unparalleled expert really has a lot of benefits. Thanks to the old ancestor of the Unity sect, I really couldn't imitate it. That day, when cursed joy injured the old ancestor of the Unity sect, Lin Fei took the opportunity to obtain a trace of essence blood. Through the systems analysis, he obtained some information about the unparalleled expert. The current aura imitation was thanks to that drop of essence blood. If the old ancestor of the Unity sect knew about it, he would probably be furious. Chapter 2265 Netherworld Palace. Did that person really say so? Dressed in a black robe, Netherworld Z was shrouded in a door that looked like the entrance to hell. He emitted a sinister aura. It was the palace master of the Netherworld Palace. Yes, that person is very mysterious. Even I can't see through his background. But the sect master aura on him is not something that others can imitate. Yu Jiotian reported back immediately. The appearance of a sect master was definitely not a small matter, so he naturally did not dare to delay. The days of the Heaven Wasteland Holy Lord are coming to an end. Although Netherworld Z did not know who the other party was, he could clearly see that this sect master was not on the same side as the Heaven Wasteland Holy Lord. To him, there was no doubt that there was a certain degree of manipulation. Recently, what made Netherworld Z the most unhappy was the war started by the Heaven Wasteland domain. Killing the son of Emperor Hao? This was a big black pot. Until now, Netherworld Z was still full of anger, hating the person who had secretly attacked him. The war between us and the Heaven Wasteland Palace should not continue. If that sect master is here, we might have a chance to make him suffer. Yu Jiotian said worriedly. Wouldn't that help that mysterious sect master? Netherworld Z laughed. That depends on whether he has the ability or not. The next day, on a mountain peak at the border, Yu Ming Z had come personally to prevent himself from offending an expert of the same level as him. Another reason was to test if this person had truly entered that realm. You can show yourself now. Netherworld Z secretly checked. He was slightly shocked when he found nothing. This was the place they had agreed to meet. Taoist friend Netherworld, you're quite early. Without any warning, the black-robed Lin Fei appeared on a huge rock on the mountain peak, his long hair fluttering in the wind. He actually appeared? There is no fluctuation, no formation aura. What kind of technique is this? I can't see it. With just one glance, Netherworld Z was inwardly shocked. This technique was much more powerful than him. Apart from the sect master, who else could do it? At this moment, he had complete trust in this mysterious sect master level expert. Netherworld Z believed in his own judgment. No one could deceive him in front of him. Such a person had not been born yet. Fellow Taoist is quite capable. I didn't expect the sacred world to have another powerful sect master. Yu Ming Z said, It's just a small path. It's nothing. Lin Fei shook his head slightly. But fellow Taoist, Netherworld was able to come. I made a good choice. For example, that person is going to be unlucky. Ha ha ha. Yu Mingzi laughed loudly. Fellow Taoist, I wonder what brilliant plan you have to make that person suffer. Why don't you tell me? It was impossible for Lin Fei to not be nervous when facing a sect leader-level figure. Fortunately, he had the system to simulate everything. Light had appeared silently. It would definitely surprise the other party. In reality, it was just as Lin Fei had predicted. Even the slightest change in the other party would not be able to escape the system's monitoring. This is not a problem. Interesting fellow. From the beginning to the end, Yu Mingzi had never asked for the other party's name. There was no need. Unity Ancestor? From the aura released by the other party, Yu Mingzi was able to determine who the other party was. He knew all the sect leader-level figures in the sacred world, except for those sect leaders who hid their names. Yu Mingzi was shocked. The Unity sect had suffered a great loss recently. They actually interfered with Heaven Wasteland domain at this time. What were they planning? He could not figure it out at this moment, but it was fine as long as he knew that the other party was the Unity Ancestor. Unity Ancestor, you are even more unfathomable than what the outside world says. With this concealment technique, everyone will be afraid of you. Yu Mingzi turned and left. Not long later, Yu Mingzi reappeared on the mountain peak. He looked left and right before leaving again. What a sneak attack. Unfortunately, you have underestimated me. Lin Fei remained near the mountain peak and did not leave. With the system's powerful shielding function, and using the unit of origin energy, it would be strange if Yu Mingzi could see through it. The Unity sect, such a big scapegoat, it will be hard for you to defend yourselves. Lin Fei purposely did not mind him, but he revealed the aura of a sect leader-level expert. This was equivalent to a mark, the best proof in the circle of sect leaders in the sacred world. When he thought about how this matter would blow up, that Unity Ancestor would probably vomit blood and wouldn't be able to clear his name. We promise you. 3 days later, Zhong family. Sung Shengtian personally agreed to the mysterious person's request. During these 3 days, it wasn't that the Zhong family didn't investigate, but the other party was too mysterious. They mobilized some resources and still didn't find anything. But one thing was for sure, the other party was definitely a sect leader expert. Relying on an expert wasn't something they couldn't accept, and the time limit was just 1,000 years. The Zhong family could accept this time limit. For any expert to cultivate, a small seclusion would take 200 to 300 years. 1,000 years would pass in the blink of an eye, and the price and rewards wouldn't be ordinary. Sung Shengtian secretly had confidence in breaking through to the next realm. Perhaps in less than 1,000 years, he would be able to break through to the unparalleled realm and become a sect leader expert of the sacred world. At that time, he would naturally have the capital to contend against this mysterious fellow. Patriarch Zhong, you will definitely rejoice in the future. This is the most profitable deal you have done in your life. Ordinary people really don't have this opportunity. Lin Fei said with a smile. The following matters were simple. After Sung Xingtian chose to agree, Lin Fei's task was half completed, and he inwardly heaved a sigh of relief. Bring me to a secret place of yours. Before Sung Xingtian broke through to the unparalleled realm, Lin Fei didn't need to worry about the other party going back on his words. To break through to that realm wasn't an easy matter, and many monstrous geniuses were stuck at this step. Hua hua hua! The people of Heaven Wasteland domain and Nether domain were fighting at the border, and Lin Fei would not miss the opportunity. Since he was going to make a move, this was undoubtedly the best time to do so. These are 20,000 heavy spear soldiers. Each one of them is a half-step giant. They have the ability to kill half-step giants of the same level. They will be the sharpest knife for you to expand your territory. Lin Fei said, in addition, I will also leave 20 giant puppets for you. As for that person, you naturally don't need to do anything. With this power, you should know what to do. The dense mass of heavy spear soldiers exuded a fierce and terrifying aura. 20,000 heavy spear soldiers gathered together. Even the two brothers Sung Xingtian were inwardly shocked. Big brother, fortunately we made the right choice. If such a large army attacked our Zong family, the result would definitely be a great loss, and we might really be completely removed from the family. Zong Xingtian felt numb, and did not doubt the other party's words at all. This guy, what is his background to take out 20,000 heavy spear soldiers in one go? This is too unbelievable. No force in Heaven Wasteland domain can take out this kind of force. Sung Shengtian was previously unwilling, but now he no longer had any thoughts. Chapter 2266. 3 days later, Heaven Wasteland domain. A special envoy from the Heaven Wasteland Palace had come to inspect the recruitment mission arranged by the higher-ups. At the same time, he brought along an inspector from the Heaven Wasteland Palace. It seemed that if Sung Xingtian showed the slightest reluctance, they would act against the Zong family. The prepared Sung Xingtian politely invited them into the Zong family. On the surface, he was very polite, but when they were unprepared, he killed all the special envoy and the inspector. Not long after the Zong family killed the special envoy, a dark cloud floated in the sky. On the dark cloud stood a giant expert, his face filled with killing intent. Sung Xingtian, you have indeed rebelled. The palace lord had long expected this, and specially arranged for me to deal with you. Ha ha ha! On the dark cloud, the old man's eyes were like lightning shooting over. After today, your Zong family will be completely erased from Heaven Wasteland domain. Wu Lang, erasing is not up to you to decide. Sung Xingtian threw everything aside, rejoicing in his heart that he had made a choice. Otherwise, if he really had such thoughts, the Zong family would not be able to survive this disaster. Sung Xingtian exploded with a tyrannical aura, charging towards Wu Lang. He raised his hand, and a treasure was thrown over. The Zong family has rebelled. We obey the orders of the palace lord. Destroy the entire Zong family. Kill without mercy. Wu Lang roared, his voice rumbling throughout Heaven Wasteland domain. In the surrounding void, a black shadow appeared. Heaven Wasteland Palace had already secretly arranged for people to be hidden within the formation, hiding from an expert like Sung Xingtian. Wu Lang took out his treasure, and the two treasures constantly collided in the sky, setting off terrifying shock waves. Sung Shengtian, your Zong family is finished. This time I have personally brought an order from the palace lord, and specially deployed 3,000 Heaven Wasteland domain soldiers, 50 giant experts. No matter how monstrous your strength is, don't even think of resisting. Wu Lang laughed loudly. Brother Hey, you can come out now. Black blood floated over from the sky, its blood chi soaring to the heavens. Those with lower strength felt as though their blood chi was about to burst out of their bodies. Heaven Wasteland Palace. Black blood consecrator. Sung Xingtian's face darkened slightly, because the other party was also a late-stage giant expert. At the same time, he was also very powerful in the recruitment of Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Black Blood Giant stood on the Black Blood Mountain. Blood-colored shadows coiled around his body, forming a blood-colored cloak that fluttered in the wind. Clan leader Zong, so you still remember me? Wu Lang laughed. Do you see that? This is the power your Zong clan has no way to resist. The Empyrean has already said that as long as you all surrender, your entire Zong clan won't die. In the eyes of sovereign Black Waves, the Zong clan had no other choice. Resist? It was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Sung Shengtian's eyes flashed with determination. The Zong clan won't allow themselves to be captured without putting up a fight. As for you guys, there's no need to leave. All of you can stay behind. Heavy gunner soldiers, move out. As the sound of his voice faded, numerous black shadows shot out from the Zong clan. Bang! A heavy gunner soldier stabbed a half-step giant with his spear. His sturdy armor could not withstand a single blow and was easily penetrated by the other party's spear. The other party was sent flying, smashing into a mountain top and vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Bang! 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 A series of air-piercing sounds were heard, followed by a figure. They blasted into the orderly ranks of Heaven Wasteland Palace's soldiers. Immediately after, the figures smashed into the ground like meteors. So fast! What a fierce attack! The two brothers Sung Xingtian could not help but gasp. They were at the same realm, but they could completely crush the other party. In just one move, the Heaven Wasteland Palace's soldiers disappeared. This was simply unbelievable. Attack! Sung Xingtian and Zhong Shengshui were full of confidence. They each took out their treasures and attacked the Black Waves giant and the Black Blood giant. In an instant, the two sides were entangled. How is this possible? There's something wrong with the situation. The elders and masters of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were greatly shocked. They had not expected such a situation to occur. The 3,000 Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers were the strongest force of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Yet they were defeated by the Zhong family in a single move. Was this still the Zhong family that was constantly being suppressed according to the information? The two of them blocked the attacks of the Zhong brothers, and at the same time mobilized the other hegemonic-level experts to join the battle. First, they would kill the two Zhong brothers. Once they were dead, they would then move on to kill the half-step hegemonic-level experts. The 50 giant experts were immediately attacked by 10,000 heavy gunner soldiers. At the same time, there were also 20 giant puppets and a few giants of the Zhong family. In less than an hour, the Heaven Wasteland Palace's momentum was lost. More than 1,000 of the 3,000 Heaven Wasteland Palace's soldiers were killed, and the remaining 1,000 were captured. The heavy gunner soldiers surrounded the 50 giants and killed 15 of them. The rest were seriously injured and had no choice but to raise their hands and surrender. The two brothers Sung Xingtian used all their trump cards and killed Elder Black Waves and Black Blood Master on the spot. The Zhong family won. We've won. Zhong Sheng took a deep breath. It would be a lie to say that the two brothers did not feel pressured in the face of the Heaven Wasteland Palace's encirclement. Who knew that the heavy gunner soldiers and the giant puppets that were left behind would be so ferocious and solve their worries? We need to act as soon as possible while the Heaven Wasteland Palace is still unaware of the situation. While they are reacting, we need to expand our territory and wipe out the forces of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Sung Xingtian also revealed a smile. He was confident in this battle. Killing and arson is the golden belt. It's not fake at all. Lin Fei did not leave Heaven Wasteland domain. He had been paying attention to the development of the situation. From the day he entered the Zhong family, he knew of the ambush in the void, but he did not tell them. Heaven Wasteland domain's rich people, sacrificing 3,000 half-step giants, 50 giants, and 2 late-stage giants. This is a great harvest. Lin Fei's heart was filled with elation. Such a good thing was really hard to come by. Lin Fei rejoiced that he had come to the right place. By the time the Heaven Wasteland Palace reacted, the strength around him would have increased greatly, and they would definitely regret it. Right now, let's first transform the 2 late-stage giants. These 2 late-stage giants were far weaker than Sung Shengtian, so it was normal for them to be killed. To Lin Fei, these were the strongest corpses in history. If the transformation was successful, they would have the strength of a late-stage giant, provided that they were equipped with the corresponding equipment. Lin Fei now hoped that the Zhong family would make a big fuss. The Zhong family's attack was very sharp. No one knew better than them that these were forces controlled by the Heaven Wasteland Palace. On that day, the 20,000 heavy gunner soldiers were divided into 5 groups. Each group had 4,000 gunner soldiers and launched a fierce attack on 4 of the larger forces. A day later, the four forces suffered heavy casualties and were removed from Heaven Wasteland Domain. Chapter 2267. P.S. There was a mistake yesterday. Let me correct it. It should be attacking 5 major powers, not 4. While the Heaven Wasteland Palace and the Netherworld Palace were at war, the Zong family suddenly emerged and destroyed 5 major forces in one day, shocking the entire Heaven Wasteland Domain. Crazy, crazy! What is the Zong family trying to do? Do they think they can fight against that person? Who would have thought that the Zong family would be defeated so quickly? Who would have thought that they would have such a card up their sleeves? They destroyed 5 major forces that the Heaven Wasteland Palace admired in one go. Zong Xingtian is still too reckless. He is playing with fire and burning himself. The people of Heaven Wasteland Domain were not optimistic about the sudden rise of the Zong family. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was able to control Heaven Wasteland Domain because they had unparalleled experts, which was far from what the Zong family could compare to. Even if they caught the other party off guard, they would definitely suffer the revenge of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The result was predictable. After destroying 5 major powers, the Zong clan did not stop their advance. They gathered their scattered forces and once again fiercely attacked the direction of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. One after another, the territories of the major powers were destroyed, unable to withstand a single blow. By the time the Heaven Wasteland Palace reacted, the Zong clan had already destroyed over 100 major powers and controlled 1/3 of the Heaven Wasteland Domain. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was naturally enraged. No one wanted their backyard to be on fire, especially when it was the Zong family who was once their archenemy. They immediately sent out 10,000 heavenly soldiers. It was not easy to mobilize such a force. The heavily armed troops and the heavenly soldiers clashed again. The result was the same. The heavily armed troops gathered together and attacked ferociously. 10,000 heavenly soldiers could turn the tide of the battle, but they were far inferior to the heavily armed troops. The 10,000 heavily armed troops were defeated. The Heaven Wasteland Palace once again left behind more than 10 corpses, including a giant late-stage expert. On the Zong family side, they lost more than 1,000 heavily armed troops, most of whom were killed by giant experts. Compared to the losses of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, it was really nothing. The Zong family had won this battle. The various forces that thought the Zong family would be defeated were once again dumbfounded, especially when they knew that the Zong family had more than 10,000 heavily armed troops. They could no longer remain calm. After the second victory of the Zong clan, those powers who had been watching from the sidelines and weren't doing too well all chose to side with them. Wanting to have a good future, the strength of the Zong clan increased tremendously. On the border battlefield, when the backyard of the Heaven Wasteland Palace was on fire and the 10,000 soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were killed, Elder Yu Juqian of the Netherworld Palace launched a surprise attack and tore open a gap, causing the Heaven Wasteland Palace to suffer heavy losses. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was a dazzling sight. What a good Zong clan, to think that they've hidden so deeply. Inside the palace, a low and deep voice reverberated. Palace Lord Zhan Di Hao's face darkened when he heard the news from his subordinates. Ever since the Heaven Desolate Palace took control of the Little Saint world, they had never suffered such a great loss. For a declining ancestral clan to be able to turn into a sharp knife and stab the Heaven Desolate Palace at this time was no less than a ruthless slap to the Heaven Desolate Palace. Zhan Di Hao was filled with regret. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have held back so much. I would have directly annihilated the Zong clan, and there wouldn't be such trouble now. He had lost twice in a row. Once the flag of the Zong clan was raised, the Heaven Wasteland Domain was in chaos. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had lost 13,000 soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, which had hurt their foundation. They were originally at the bottom of all the Little Saint domains. Now that they had suffered such heavy losses, Zhan Di Hao didn't know where to put his face. The elders, deacons, and masters of the Heaven Wasteland Palace all lowered their heads and endured Jean Dihao's anger. Palace Lord, the plan now is to immediately annihilate the Zong clan. We can't let them continue to cause trouble. If this drags on, our Heaven Wasteland Palace will have no advantage at all. Jean Difei stood up and said, as a powerful figure of the Zhang clan, Jean Difei was more anxious than anyone else. I think that we should immediately mobilize the Heaven Wasteland Palace's soldiers to suppress the Zong clan. Jean Difei continued, and I hope that the Holy Lord will bestow us with a saint rune to deal with that old fart, Sung Xingin. Once we get rid of them, the Zong clan will not be able to turn the situation around. Jean Difei had a bad temper, and his battle strength was very strong. He was on the same level as Sung Xingtian. The others in the palace agreed with him. Elder Jean is right. As long as we annihilate Brother Sung Xingtian, the rest are nothing to be afraid of. In fact, we can even capture and control those 10,000 heavy-armored spearmen, which can make up for our previous losses. The people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace all knew that the Zong clan's strongest force was that batch of heavy-armored spearmen. Every single one of them had extremely strong battle strength, surpassing even the Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers. If the Heaven Wasteland Palace could capture that batch of heavy-armored spearmen, they could indeed make up for their previous losses. However, there was still a doubt in their hearts. How did the Zong clan manage to pull out such a powerful group of heavy-armored spearmen? They even managed to hide it from the eyes and ears of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. If they didn't figure this out, everyone would feel a tinge of unease in their hearts. That was 20,000 heavy-armored spearmen, which was more than what a force could handle. Did they really think that they were cabbages? Jean Dihao hated the Netherworld Palace, and he hated the Zong clan even more. They just had to create trouble at this time and bring them so much trouble. The losses they caused were also unforgivable. Difei, I'll leave the matters of the Zong clan to you. I'll get the Saint Talisman for you, but you must ensure that you destroy the Zong clan as soon as possible. Jean Dihao said solemnly. As for the others, they'll all be at the borders to prevent the Netherworld Palace from continuing their invasion. This was something that could not be helped. The Heaven Wasteland Palace controlled a large amount of resources. Over the years, the number of Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers they had created was only about 50,000. At the same time, this was also the strongest trump card that the Heaven Wasteland Palace had used to deter the other major forces. The Saint Master's Saint Talisman was naturally a nuclear weapon that would not be used easily. The Zong clan's trump card had destroyed 13,000 Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers. It would have been fine if it had been any other time, but now that the Netherworld Palace had launched a large-scale invasion that could easily destroy the Zong clan, who would have thought that they would suffer such a huge setback at the hands of the Zong clan? For the Heaven Wasteland Palace, they only had a little more than 30,000 Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers left. They did not have much confidence in themselves, so they had to ask for the Saint Talisman to kill the Sung Xingtian brothers. This was also the fastest way. In order to resolve their worries, the Heaven Wasteland Palace mobilized the few remaining Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers they had and sent out another 10,000 Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers. At the same time, they asked for the Saint Talisman bestowed by the Saint Master. The Saint Talisman contained a powerful attack from the Saint Master, which was enough to kill a powerful figure like Sung Xingtian. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had come again. The Zong clan had won twice in a row and destroyed 13,000 Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers. This kind of battle record was enough to make anyone proud, especially when it came from a clan like the Zong clan. In just a few days, a large number of people had gathered around the Zong clan. When it reached a certain scale, even the forces that had been watching from the sidelines began to have different ideas. The Zong clan organized a great army and marched forward, crushing everything in their path. For those powers and territories that blocked their way, they either surrendered or were completely annihilated. Chapter 2268. Heaven Wasteland Palace once again launched an attack on the Zong family, but this time no one was optimistic about Heaven Wasteland Palace's chances. In these few days, Zong family had displayed terrifying strength and defeated Heaven Wasteland Palace twice. Other than the Holy Lord, they didn't believe that Heaven Wasteland Palace had the strength to deal with Zong family, especially under such circumstances. On the battlefield at the border, Netherworld Palace was eyeing them covetously. Zong family moved very quickly, subduing forces one by one and killing their way to Heaven Wasteland Palace's territory. On this day, Heaven Wasteland Palace and the main family met again. Old Man Zong, you really hid your strength well, but you won't be so lucky this time. Battle Di Fei was very angry with Sun Shengtian, but he suppressed his anger and didn't arrange for the Heaven Wasteland Palace's soldiers to move out. Sun Shengtian became more and more confident. With just the few of you, I advise you not to worry too much. Big brother, he is from the Zong family, let's kill him first. Zong Xingshui's battle intent surged as he took out a treasure and charged forward. You killed our Zong family's disciples back then. I will have my revenge today. Battle Di Fei was very strong. Even though they were at the same cultivation realm, they fought until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Not only did they not have any chance of winning, they even fell into a predicament. Zong Shengshui had already expected this. It was just to exhaust their energy. Saint Talisman, Icy Finger. The Saint Talisman was completely golden, and after battle Di Fei tore it apart. An oppressive aura from an unparalleled expert instantly enveloped the entire area. Traces of coldness turned into frost and fell from the sky. Shameless. Sun Xingtian and his brother's expressions changed drastically as they desperately circulated the energy in their bodies to resist the oppressive aura. Their movements also became sluggish as frost covered their bodies. Old Man Zong, we could destroy you once back then. We can do the same to your Zong family now. Battle Di Fei revealed a look of joy. Amidst the endless frost, a snow-white finger jabbed at the two, between the heavens and the earth. At this moment, it seemed to be quiet. Sun Shengtian and his brother lost control of their bodies. Even though the great Tao runes appeared, they were still forcefully suppressed. I didn't expect it to be a Saint Talisman. Sun Shengtian was still very proud of his own strength, and he believed that he could block the attack from the Holy Lord. Now, the attack from the Holy Talisman, with just a condensed finger, had caused them to lose the ability to resist. The Holy Lord was the Holy Lord. I hope that person can make a move. At this moment, Sun Xingtian pinned his hopes on the mysterious man. At this moment, only he could help her get through this calamity. The tyrannical aura of the saint symbol engulfed the entire Heaven Wasteland domain. All the forces, big and small, were moved, and some old ancestors who were in seclusion also came out. The Saint Lord had made a move. It was something that hadn't happened in a long time. These seclusion old ancestors couldn't sit still any longer. They had to pay attention to the development of the situation so that they could make the correct choice. As for those powers that had pledged their allegiance to the Zong clan, all of them were thinking that the two strongest experts of the Zong clan would soon be killed by the Saint Talisman. The Holy Talisman appeared. He would definitely die. No one had ever heard of anyone surviving under the attack of the Saint Talisman. Even if this Saint Talisman wasn't fully condensed, it could easily kill a late-stage giant-level expert, even if the other party had condensed great Tao patterns. He has indeed made a move. The reason why Lin Fei didn't leave the Heaven Wasteland domain was because of that person from the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Everything was as he had imagined. The other party had indeed made a move. Even though it wasn't his true body, a simple Saint Talisman was enough to solve all the problems. If the true body were to make a move, it would be more troublesome to deal with it. An attack from a Saint Talisman, I can still deal with it. It's just a waste of my origin energy. Lin Fei could imitate the aura of the Unity ancestor through the system, not to mention everything that was contained in the blood essence. Go. It was a very ordinary finger attack. Bang! The icy jade finger collided with the finger attack in the void, instantly setting off a terrifying wave of air. The two Zong clan brothers were sent flying. Battle Di Fei, who had a smug look on his face, was also sent flying. A terrifying aura lingered at the scene and didn't dissipate for a long time. Cough, cough, cough! Sung Xingtian came out from the ruins. He had sustained serious injuries, and the frost between heaven and earth had also disappeared. Heavy armored troops, move out! The biggest problem had been solved. Sung Xingtian was completely relieved. Without any hesitation, he launched his attack. More than 10,000 heavy armored troops charged out. Sect Master level experts. Battle Di Fei came out in a sorry state. He looked at the heavy armored troops in the sky. The saint talisman that he had high hopes for was dissolved just like that. He couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. No wonder they dared to attack. It turns out that they have backup. Before Battle Di Fei could think any further, the two Sung Xingtian brothers charged over and used their two giant treasures to suppress him. After losing his biggest trump card, Battle Di Fei was forced to retreat. Coupled with the impact of the airwaves, he didn't last long before he was killed by the two brothers. Without Battle Di Fei to hold the fort, the Heaven Wasteland Domain's heavenly troops and magnate experts were utterly defeated. In just a short while they were killed or captured. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had failed once again. Dead. When another aura appeared, Battle Di Hao's expression changed. His heart sank as he realized that there was a mistake in the information. Zong family. The instant Battle Di Fei's aura disappeared. A terrifying aura erupted from Battle Di Hao's body. The people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace could feel the anger from the palace lord's aura. After this battle, the Heaven Wasteland Palace had suffered a huge blow. It wasn't something that could be recovered in a short period of time. The Netherworld Palace, which had been under attack all this while, suddenly launched an attack without any warning. A battle broke out at the battlefield at the border. Elder Yu Jutian also personally joined the battle. Battle Di Hao, do you dare to come out and fight? A stern voice floated over from the sky. It turned out that Yu Mingzi had taken out a treasure and was charging over. A few of the Heaven Wasteland Palace's magnate experts were sent flying. All of them were heavily injured. Yu Mingzi, you are really good. A battle broke out at the border. Lin Fei, who had been observing the battle, passed down an order to the two brothers of the Zong family. They were to continue their attack and wipe out the major powers that were loyal to the Heaven Wasteland Palace. It had to be said that the Zong family had the backing of a sect master-level expert. This caused those who had pledged their allegiance to the Zong family to beam with joy and excitement. This caused the morale of the Zong family to soar. From their point of view, the Heaven Wasteland Palace would suffer a great defeat under the pincer attack. Even if that person appeared, he might not be able to block the attacks of the two armies. The forces that were loyal to the Heaven Wasteland Palace were all wiped out by the Zong family. In a short 2 days, the Zong family had wiped out and conquered 70% of the forces of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Almost as soon as the army arrived, those who surrendered. Now, everyone could see that the Zong family had the backing of a sect master-level expert. Their morale was high, and they were far from being able to resist. If they didn't surrender, what else could they do? The major powers that were absolutely loyal to the Zong family wavered. After the first one surrendered, the second one immediately followed. On the third day, the army of the Zong family penetrated into the territory of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. On the other side, on the battlefield at the border, the Heaven Wasteland Palace was retreating step by step. Their forces were constantly shrinking, and the people they had on hand became fewer and fewer. In the end, they retreated back into the territory of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Two forces appeared at the border of the Heaven Wasteland Palace's territory. Chapter 2269. A great battle was about to break out. The entire Heaven Wasteland domain was dumbfounded. No one had expected that the Heaven Desolate Palace would be in such a bad situation. Everyone had thought that the war between the Heaven Desolate Palace and the Netherworld Palace would end in a draw. The scene before them was beyond everyone's imagination. The rise of the Zong family involved the shadow of the sect master, which undoubtedly posed a very bad threat to the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Everyone was waiting to see how the Heaven Wasteland Palace would deal with this threat. If they did not handle it well, the losses that the Heaven Wasteland Palace would suffer would be great. At the very least, they would not be able to stop the rise of the Zong clan for a long period of time. If not for the Saint Master of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, everyone believed that the Zong clan had the ability to remove the Zong clan from their lofty position. Good move, sir. Under the night sky on a mountain peak, Yu Ming Zi greatly admired the other party's methods. Previously, he had thought of using this method to support a few forces in order to cause some trouble for the Heaven Desolate Palace. Fortunately, he did not carry it out, or else all his efforts would have been in vain. The strength of the united sect undoubtedly caused Yu Mingzi to have all sorts of doubts. With such strength, why couldn't they block the attack of the Curse Palace that day? Could it be a ruse to injure himself to gain confidence? No matter what, Yu Mingzi started to take this seriously. Average. Lin Fei appeared in a black robe. Thanks to the approach of your Netherworld Palace, a portion of the Heaven Wasteland Palace's forces have been dispersed. I hope that we can break into the Heaven Wasteland Palace tomorrow. At the very least, we will inflict great damage to their vitality. Yu Ming Child had never thought of approaching the headquarters of the Heaven Desolate Palace. But now that he was at the gates of the city, he naturally had other ideas. At the very least, he could make the Heaven Desolate Palace vomit blood. If the Holy Master of the Heaven Wasteland Palace really makes a move, he will definitely not be able to gain any advantage. You can rest assured. Yu Mingzi would not boast. To be able to get so close to the Heaven Desolate Palace. Even if the Heaven Desolate Palace was destroyed, the Netherworld Palace would be able to gain benefits from the Heaven Desolate Palace in the future. The other party could only helplessly swallow this bitter fruit. Yu Mingzi even thought back to when the other party had slandered them. He probably never thought that there would be a day when he would be in such a disadvantageous position. The two then discussed for a while about tomorrow's matters. They wanted to ensure that they would deal the greatest blow to the Heaven Desolate Palace's strength and not give them a chance to catch their breath. The next day, the two armies launched a fierce attack. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was suddenly caught in a pincer attack. The army crushed their way in. As they approached the main altar of the Heaven Desolate Palace, the other side was forced to retreat without any ability to resist. Lin Fei had killed more than half of the 50,000 Heaven Wasteland soldiers, and the Netherworld Palace had killed a few more. The remaining 20,000 or so soldiers of Heaven Wasteland domain were terrified. Even if the Heaven Wasteland Palace mobilized more troops, they still wouldn't be able to stop the invasion. In less than half a day, the army arrived outside the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The troops of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were holed up inside the palace, and at the same time they opened their formations and created ripples to form a barrier, temporarily blocking the fierce attack of the army. At this time, everyone in the Heaven Wasteland Palace was in a state of panic. There were less than 9,000 soldiers of Heaven Wasteland domain left, and their morale was particularly low. They had never thought that they would be suppressed by an opponent of the same realm. Palace Lord John, your men are not good enough. Yu Mingzi stood in the sky. If I were you, I would immediately close the formation and surrender, lest the Heaven Wasteland Palace turn into a river of blood. The morale of the Netherworld Palace was high, and they kept attacking the Heaven Desolate Palace's formation. Jean Dihao's expression was very ugly. How long had it been? and they had already fallen into such a situation. Even if they could get out of this predicament today, they would become a big joke in the sacred world. Zhan Di Hao blamed Sung Xingtian for the Heaven Wasteland Palace's current predicament. If they hadn't been stabbed by them, would they have ended up in this situation today? Yu Mingzi, I didn't lose to you, so there's nothing for you to be proud of. Zhan Di Hao stared at Sung Xingtian in the distance, with deep resentment. Sung Xingtian, the only thing I didn't expect was that you would take this opportunity to attack. If I had known earlier, I would have destroyed your Zong family back then. Sung Xingtian was in a very good mood today. This was a scene that he had wanted to realize even in his dreams. The current scene was very real, and it was something that he had never dared to imagine before. The army of the Zong family would one day kill their way to the Heaven Wasteland Palace. There's no medicine for regret in this world. Sung Xingtian said coldly, back then, your Zong family was only a subsidiary force of the Zong family. The winner takes all, there's nothing more to say. Today it's your turn. Zhan Di Hao's face darkened. You don't have the right to attack the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Heaven Wasteland domain is still controlled by the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had a holy master. That was the ultimate threat to the outside world. Everyone knows how to talk big. Sung Xingtian laughed. At the end of the day, it all depends on your ability. Let's see how you're going to defend once the formation of the Heaven Wasteland Palace is broken. Attack! The two great forces attacked together, and their attacks were very fierce. Yu Mingzi found a formation grandmaster, and on the Zong family side, Lin Fei secretly pointed out where to attack the formation. The formation of the Heaven Wasteland Palace could not last for more than 2 days before it was broken. The army charged in. The entire Heaven Wasteland Palace was in chaos, and the soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were no longer in the mood to fight. The big shots and elders of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were surrounded by experts the moment they arrived. Corpses of big shots fell continuously, and the battlefield was covered with corpses. The battle was very intense, and the scales of victory were slowly tilting towards the side of the Nether Palace and the Zong family. Zhan Di Hao was also in a sorry state. If your holy master still doesn't act, the Heaven Wasteland Palace will cease to exist. Yu Mingzi suppressed Zhan Di Hao, forcing him to retreat step by step, and wounds were left on his body. At this time, Zhan Di Hao knew that the situation of the Heaven Wasteland Palace was very bad. If they did not invite an ultimate existence, it would be very difficult to resolve this fierce battle. Gritting his teeth, he took out a golden saint talisman and squeezed it. A golden ripple spread out and disappeared without a trace. Yu Mingzi also stopped attacking, and his expression turned serious. To be able to force the other party to invite the Holy Master, no matter what the outcome was, the Heaven Wasteland Palace would become a big joke in the sacred world. This kind of sorry state was not something that could be resolved with just a few words. Lin Fei was also secretly observing. There was not much information about the Holy Master of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Everyone only knew that he was a member of the Zhan family, and after claiming to be the ruler of the Heaven Wasteland domain, he disappeared without a trace. It was said that this ancestor of the Zhan family was constantly in seclusion in order to break through to a higher level. In these years, the Holy Master of the Heaven Wasteland domain basically did not make a move, and his specific strength was not known. Lin Fei had always been on guard. An awesome character that could control a small sacred world was not easy to deal with. No matter what, he had to suppress him today. At the very least, he had to fight to a draw. Lin Fei planned to bleed a lot this time. Chapter 2270. The chaos in Heaven Wasteland domain naturally attracted the attention of some sacred lords. Which sacred lord did not want to expand their territory, such as supporting a few forces in other small saint domains or occupying a piece of land? No matter how much the other party gnashed their teeth, they could not do anything about it. As the weakest domain, it was very normal for Heaven Wasteland domain to be noticed. Right now, Heaven Wasteland Palace was forced to such an extent, which was very unbelievable to the sacred world. Deep within Heaven Wasteland Palace, as the ripples spread, a sharp aura suddenly descended above Heaven Wasteland Palace. Oppressive, in front of the sharp aura, everyone felt a strong sense of suffocation. This was unprecedented. Their bodies slowly became unable to move. Who allowed you to cause trouble? These simple words came from deep within Heaven Wasteland Palace and immediately exploded in everyone's hearts like a bolt of lightning. Yu Mingzi and the Sung Xingtian brothers were the first to bear the brunt. Puff! The two Sung Xingtian brothers vomited blood on the spot, and their bodies swayed as they fell from the sky. The rest of the people also exploded, turning into clouds of blood mist. Without even seeing him, the infinite power of the sacred Lord had already made everyone feel an invisible fear. This fear came from the sacred Lord. What a terrifying attack! This should be a sound wave attack. Lin Fei, who was in the dark, saw clearly that when the sacred Lord of Heaven Wasteland spoke, his voice condensed into a long spear attack that pierced into the other party's mind without any ability to resist. Lin Fei thought that the sacred Lord of Heaven Wasteland would attack in anger, but it seemed that he had underestimated the sacred Lord of Heaven Wasteland. All hail the sacred Lord! Zhang Di Hao and the rest finally revealed a look of joy. In front of the sacred Lord, the Zong brothers were nothing, even if the Yuming Zi was of a higher level than them. The Yuming Zi's body swayed, slightly, blocking most of the opponent's attack. As an unparalleled expert, although he had used a treasure to stabilize his realm, he was still a sect master level figure. This was also the reason why Zhang Di Hao did not dare to attack. In a one-on-one situation, he was far from being the Yuming Zi's opponent, and he was very unhappy. Sacred Lord, infinite desolation. Yu Mingzi had a certain understanding of the sacred master of Heaven Wasteland. The fact that the other party could turn his voice into a sound wave attack made Yu Mingzi take him seriously. Yu Mingzi, you have guts to actually dare to cause trouble in the Heaven Desolate Palace. As soon as he finished speaking, a giant hand turned into an inescapable net and grabbed at him. Let me see what gives you the guts to be so arrogant. This grab, Yu Mingzi was immediately enveloped by the palm. Who's afraid of who? Yu Mingzi took out his personal treasure and blasted it towards the palm in the sky. This time, he wasn't the only one making a move. The Union Old Ancestor would also make a move. The giant hand in the sky quickly flicked 3 times at the giant treasure. Bang! Bang! He flicked it 3 times in a row, each time hitting the giant treasure. The giant treasure was sent flying and smashed into a mountain. The mountain peak was torn apart and rubble flew everywhere. You can't. If your netherworld sacred master came, I might be a little afraid, but you... A disdainful voice came from the sky again. That was the disdain of the sacred master of Heaven Wasteland. As expected, you still can't do it. Yu Mingzi shook his head slightly and didn't show too much of a shock. After all, he wasn't a true unparalleled expert. Against a true sacred master, it was normal for him to be slightly weaker. Netherworld River. Yu Mingzi shouted, and the great Tao appeared behind him. It was a long black river with surging waves and black fog, emitting an extremely terrifying aura. The Netherworld River swept towards the source of the voice. In front of this Netherworld River, Zhang Di Hao's expression changed slightly. This Netherworld River was almost entirely filled with Netherworld aura. If one observed carefully, there was still a small portion that had yet to be completely transformed. Once all of it was transformed into Netherworld aura, Yu Mingzi would be equivalent to stepping into the realm of an unparalleled expert. I heard that the strongest move of the Netherworld Palace is the Netherworld River. The Netherworld River specializes in corroding the physical body and destroying the great Tao. Today, Watch as I destroy your netherworld river. This holy master of heaven desolate is terrifyingly powerful. He is 1 or 2 realms higher than Yumingzi. When Holy Master of Heaven Desolate easily destroyed the attack of the Netherworld River, Lin Fei knew that it was time for him to act. Until now, he still hadn't seen what Holy Master of Heaven Desolate looked like. Have you locked onto his position? Little Evil Demon replied. Yes, as long as Master gives the order. We will definitely be able to threaten him. Yu Mingzi was the vanguard while Lin Fei planned to attack from the shadows. No matter what, he had to give Holy Master of Heaven Desolate an unforgettable memory. Brother Yu, continue attacking. I will help you immediately. Lin Fei transmitted a message to Yu Mingzi. Yu Mingzi was indeed waiting for the other party to attack. Just him alone wasn't a match for Holy Master of Heaven Desolate, and he had suffered a small injury. All right, the Netherworld River once again transformed into a spear and a broadsword to attack the other party. In the depths of the Heaven Desolate Palace sat an old man. The old man had a head of white hair, but his face was rosy. His eyes were exceptionally spirited, as if he could see through everything. You're courting death. Even though Holy Master of Heaven Desolate didn't care too much about trivial matters, he was still enraged to be attacked at his doorstep. He decided to teach Yu Mingzi a lesson that he would never forget. And this is... Just as Holy Master of Heaven Desolate was about to attack, a group of uninvited guests suddenly appeared in his lair. It was a group of black shadows that quietly appeared in the surroundings without a trace of aura. Without any hesitation, hundreds of shadows charged at him. Holy Master of Heaven Desolate blew out a breath of air, and the golden great Tao power killed hundreds of shadows. Not a single one could reach him, but a trace of doubt arose in his heart. How did these guys get here? Not just anyone could sneak into his lair. The current scene was too abnormal. Again, before Holy Master of Heaven Desolate could look away, a dense group of figures appeared in his lair. They were all half-step giants, and there were more than 1,000 of them. They raised their spears, and the sound of the spears pierced through the air and enveloped him. Who? Who is it? A half-step giant wasn't much, but the fact that the other party could sneak in without him noticing was the biggest problem. Curse art, numb. Curse art, een cursed finger. Curse art, weaken. Curse art, poison. While Holy Master of Heaven Desolate blocked the Netherworld River with one hand and killed the half-step giants with the other, Lin Fei quietly made his move. A curse enhanced by origin energy blasted towards Holy Master of Heaven Desolate. Boom! The curse poison exploded on Holy Master of Heaven Desolate. A golden energy appeared around Holy Master of Heaven Desolate, and a crack was created by the cursed finger. Although it wasn't obvious, it was enough. Curse art numb and curse art weaken, all drilled into Holy Master of Heaven Desolate's body. Chapter 2271. The curse technique cast by the origin energy was far more frightening than he had imagined, and he could not dispel it in a short time. The Holy Lord of Infinite Wasteland suffered a great loss on the spot. The curse power that had entered his body could not be expelled. It was as if the curse power had taken root in his body and was constantly attacking his internal strength. This is a curse technique. When did the Curse Palace produce such an expert? Just because the Infinite Wasteland Saint Sovereign didn't care about such matters didn't mean that he didn't know about the Curse Palace. The Curse Palace had a powerful background, and their curse arts were unfathomable and impossible to guard against. The Curse Palace was the hardest to deal with, and he had never heard of a peerless expert emerging from the Curse Palace. The curse came so suddenly that Sacred Lord Heaven Wasteland was immediately affected. Weakness, poison, paralysis, and other curse techniques were unleashed. Heaven Wasteland Saint took the initiative to slow down, and his strength was greatly reduced. Get out here. Sacred Lord Tianhuang's powerful divine sense swept out as he swore to find the culprit. No one. His vast and mighty spiritual sense entered an uninhabited realm, but he did not discover the existence of anyone. This time he was dumbfounded. You actually managed to hide from my divine sense. Once, twice, 3 times. After searching for a few times, he still couldn't find any trace of the mysterious person who cast the spell, as if the person didn't exist. On the other side, Yu Mingzi used all his strength and gradually blocked the attack from infinite, desolate Sacred Lord. He understood in his heart. It must be the Union ancestor. Sacred Lord Tianhuang wasn't the strongest amongst the Sacred Lords, but he was much stronger than normal experts and wasn't easy to deal with. The moment the other party's attacks weakened, Yu Mingzi immediately realized that his chance had come. He controlled the Netherworld River and charged straight into the depths of the Heaven Desolate Palace. No one dared to stop him. How could this be? Zhang Dihao and the rest were all dumbfounded. How could that Yu Mingzi be his opponent? Wasn't he barely able to unleash the power of an unparalleled expert? Even though he was unconvinced, Zhang Dihao did not dare to go over. The shock waves created by the 2 unparalleled martial artists had turned the area into a zone of death. Even an expert of Zhang Dihao's level would not dare to recklessly charge in. Serious injuries were certain. In the depths of the old lair of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, earth-shattering noises were constantly erupting. The long river of the underworld came and went, and every strike was extremely terrifying. It made one's scalp go numb. The 2 peerless experts exchanged blows. No one dared to approach, and the battle outside continued. Sun Shengtian took a healing pill and once again fought against Dihao. The casualties of the Heaven Desolate Palace increased once more. Sacred Lord is indeed more powerful than ordinary unparalleled experts. Lin Fei kept moving. His hands did not stop moving. The curse technique flew towards the other party's body. The origin energy consumed quickly, but the effect was still very obvious. If I'm not wrong, the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland should be at the peak of the first small realm of the unparalleled realm. The small realm of the sacred transformation realm is indeed quite powerful. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been unable to withstand the curse technique and would have been killed. However, the Sacred Lord of Infinite Wasteland was different. Even though he was slightly affected, he was still able to suppress the effects of the curse and maintain 60% of his combat strength. 60% of his combat power was more than enough to deal with the current situation. Lin Fei secretly cast a curse technique and did not reveal his position. Yu Mingzi's attacks were also extremely sharp, and being able to exchange blows with the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland undoubtedly increased his battle experience. This was a rare opportunity. The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland was miserable. On one hand, he had to suppress the curse technique, and on the other hand, he had to defend against Yu Mingzi's attack. Using 2 minds at the same time, he was barely able to fight to a draw with the other party. This was something he did not expect. Yu Mingzi, this saint has still underestimated you. The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland sent the Netherworld River flying with a palm, he said with a gloomy face. To think that you could invite such an expert! Yu Mingzi was used to the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland's attack rhythm, and a smile appeared on his face. Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland, since your Heaven Desolate Palace can wrongly accuse our Netherworld Palace, we naturally have to make some preparations. With your strength, the outcome of our battle will not be decided in a short period of time. On the other hand, if your Heaven Desolate Palace continues. In this battle, Yu Mingzi did not want to kill the other party. With his current strength, he did not have the ability to do so. He would be very satisfied if he could fight to a draw. This was also a kind of victory. The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland's face darkened once again, the killing intent in his eyes turning cold. Do you really think that this saint does not dare to kill you? Yu Mingzi was indeed certain that the other party did not dare to be ruthless. The price he had to pay was too great. He smiled and said, If you go all out, it will not be difficult for you to kill me. However, after you kill me, you might not have the ability to deal with my friend. In the end, both of us will suffer. Lin Fei, who was in the dark, admired Yu Mingzi for being able to say such words. In terms of martial arts, the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland was no longer able to do so. At the very least, the other party did not have the confidence to withstand 2 waves of attacks. Everything was beyond the control of the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland. An expert hiding in the dark was also at the sacred transformation realm like him. The other party was not at the peak of the small realm, nor was it easy to deal with. The other party cultivated the most difficult curse technique. Do I really have to give up? The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland was very helpless. He had not made a move for a long time, but he had suffered quite a bit. From the very beginning, the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland had treated this matter as a farce. Within the coverage of his divine sense, he was unable to find any traces of the incantation expert. Instead, the other party's incantations continued to bombard him. After another hour, the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland had consumed a lot of energy. The disciples of the Heaven Wasteland Palace had long since been forced to retreat. Even John D. Howe was in a sorry state and was at a disadvantage. He had lost. The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland knew that he had made a mistake this time. If not for the incantation expert in the dark, it would not be difficult for him to deal with Yu Mingzi. Yu Mingzi, your goal has been achieved. The Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland retreated with a single strike and stopped attacking. If this continued, the losses of the Heaven Wasteland Palace would continue to increase. It's finally over. Seeing the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland retreat, Yu Mingzi secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He was extremely excited in his heart. He had actually made the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland stop. In this battle against the Heaven Wasteland Palace, his side had won. Yu Mingzi was not arrogant. In his heart, he was very clear that the old ancestor Yu Yi, who had not appeared yet, had been a great help in this battle. He was also shocked by the other party's methods. What methods had made the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland so obviously fearful? This was simply unbelievable. The battle has stopped? The 2 brothers, Sun Xingtian, were evidently taken aback. Big brother, we've won. Zhong Shengshui reacted quickly. In an instant, everyone cheered. Master must have blocked the attack of the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland. We've won this battle. Sun Xingtian's eyes were brimming with tears. This was something he dared not imagine. When John D. Howe and the others received the Holy Lord's words, they were completely dazed. For a moment, they could not accept this result. The Holy Lord in their eyes, the existence that ruled the Heaven Wasteland domain, could not do anything to Yu Mingzi, and thus suffered a crushing defeat in this battle. Chapter 2272. The Netherworld Palace and Zhong clan joined forces to attack the Heaven Desolate Palace, but the battle ended in a draw. The reason why it was a draw was actually very simple. The Heaven Desolate Palace was no match for the attack of the army, and it was simply impossible to destroy the Heaven Desolate Palace. The Sacred Lord of Infinite Wasteland was not just for show. On the other side, Yu Mingzi and Lin Fei weren't confident that they could truly kill the other party. They might have a chance to defeat an expert of this level, but it would be extremely difficult to kill the other party. This battle was destined to end in a draw. However, everyone was clear in their hearts that the victors of this round were the Netherworld Palace and the Zhong clan. No matter what, the Netherworld Palace and the Zhong clan had crushed the Heaven Desolate Palace's face. This was already a victory. A few days later, the Heaven Desolate Palace made several announcements that caused a huge uproar. The first thing was for the Heaven Wasteland Palace to give a piece of land to the Netherworld Palace. This was tantamount to letting the Netherworld Palace stick a nail in the Heaven Wasteland domain. More importantly, the territory was huge. The second matter was that the Zhong clan was also given a huge piece of land, acknowledging the legitimacy of the Zhong clan's land. This caused everyone to be shocked. Everyone knew that the Heaven Wasteland Palace would not do such a thing. He was definitely going to suffer this loss. At least that was the case for now. Everyone knew that from now on, the Heaven Wasteland domain would no longer be ruled by the Heaven Wasteland Palace alone. The Netherworld Palace's interference in the Heaven Wasteland domain would soon lead to a situation where two tigers could not share one mountain. Thank you, boss. Without you, our Zone clan would have really declined. In the Zone clan's conferred land, the atmosphere was filled with excitement. The Sung Xingtian brothers were extremely grateful to the mysterious man in front of them. If not for the mysterious person, although they had to pay a certain amount of time in comparison, the Zong family would have gained more benefits. At the very least, they would be able to stand tall in Heaven Wasteland domain again. This was the lifelong wish of the Zong clan. Since you've paid the price, I, as your boss, will not disappoint you. Lin Fei laughed. He was very satisfied with the attitude of the two Zong brothers. The origin energy units were not wasted. Most importantly, he had finally completed the system's mission. Having a territory in Heaven Wasteland domain, although there were certain risks, this was not too big of a problem. What you need to do next is quite simple. I'll give you a list in a moment. After explaining everything, Lin Fei could finally heave a sigh of relief. The internal affairs of the Zong clan also needed to be reorganized. Lin Fei wasn't interested in spending too much time on this. Hence, he left behind a batch of 30,000 heavy-armored spearmen. It could solve all the problems of Heaven Wasteland domain. As for the sacred master of Infinite Wasteland, he would not dare to act recklessly for the time being. Lin Fei was very relieved. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had suffered a great loss in this battle. The heavenly soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland Palace that they had painstakingly gathered were almost all captured and killed, leaving them with less than a few thousand people. Even if the Heaven Desolate Palace wanted to take revenge, they would need a very long time. They didn't have the strength to suppress the Zong clan, while the Zong clan had 30,000 heavy-armored spearmen. The Heaven Wasteland Palace could only silently shed tears. This was a tough bone to chew. Now that the Heaven Wasteland Palace had lost the deterrence of the Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers, the forces that had attached themselves to it were also restless and had other ideas. Happy cooperation. Yu Mingzi was in a very good mood. It was usually impossible to bite off a large piece of meat from the hands of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, but they had succeeded this time. They now had a chance to intervene in the Heaven Wasteland domain. In these few days, the Netherworld Palace did not stay idle and constantly deployed troops. They were stationed in the fiefdom that belonged to the Netherworld Palace, like a sharp knife that could fall on the head of the Heaven Wasteland Palace at any time. It was tantamount to an invisible threat. Even if the Heaven Wasteland Palace was unhappy, they could only stare helplessly. One knife in the front and one in the back, the threat was really not light. Happy cooperation. Lin Fei raised the wine cup in his hand and drank it in one gulp. At the same time, thank you for the gifts. The cooperation between Lin Fei and Yu Mingzi was very simple. Afterwards, Yu Mingzi received news from somewhere and sent over a batch of half-step giant and giant corpses, which made Lin Fei even more satisfied. The other party did not mention the use of the corpses at all. It's good that you're satisfied. After all, you've helped us a lot. A small gift is nothing. Yu Mingzi really did not care about this. After all, it was of no use to them. If not for the sudden appearance of the Zong family and disrupting the other party's plan, the Netherworld Palace would not be able to gain any advantage. In addition, Yu Mingzi was even more curious about this old ancestor He. To be able to invite a curse technique expert was completely beyond his imagination. Thinking back to what happened before, he felt that this old ancestor He was pretending to be a pig to eat an elephant. The meeting this time was much more cordial. The two talked about some other matters. The main point was to guard against the counterattack of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. They were not worried about anything else, but that Holy Lord. He might not be able to swallow this anger. He won't dare, at least not for the next few years. Yu Mingzi laughed. My holy lord said that when the time comes, he will personally make a move. As long as he dares to make a move, he will definitely not be able to gain any advantage. Lin Fei silently mourned for the Heaven Wasteland Palace. For a long period of time, at least for the next few decades, it would be difficult for the Heaven Wasteland Palace to regain control. The first Netherworld Palace would not allow it. Holy Lord, we can't swallow this anger. Heaven Wasteland Palace, Forbidden Grounds. Zhang Dihao could not accept the blow of defeat, and even forced them to give up 2 territories. If not for the Zhong family messing up the rhythm, he would not have lost. Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland's expression was very calm. You have no choice but to accept it, be it the Netherworld Palace or the Zhong family. They both have unparalleled experts. You have to swallow this anger. The Heaven Wasteland Palace's current strength is not enough to contend against them. You should be clear about this. You should know what to do next. Zhang Dihao's heart was filled with bitterness. He could not let go of this anger. The Heaven Wasteland Palace had suffered a great loss. There were less than 8,000 soldiers left, and many elders and worshippers had died. They had suffered a crushing defeat, and the most important thing now was to recover. I understand. No matter how unwilling I am, I will endure it. Zhang Dihao gritted his teeth. The Heaven Wasteland Palace will rise again. Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland said a few more things to Zhang Dihao before he left the Forbidden Grounds. We really miscalculated this time. After he left, Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland let out a bitter sigh. The other party's curse technique is so terrifying, and I can't get rid of it in a short period of time. The Curse Palace is indeed ambitious, and they secretly set up a trap. You guys think that I won't dare to make a move, but that doesn't mean. Lin Fei returned to the Invincible Palace, and there was no need to worry about the Heaven Wasteland domain. The passage to the World Wall battlefield was opened. The people of the Sacred World could freely enter the Sealed World. The number of cultivators registered in the Adventurers Association reached a huge number. Lin Fei was very satisfied after seeing this. The population of the mysterious Sky World also began to increase, and almost all of them were adventurers from the Sacred World. Those experts who initially looked down on the Adventurers Association, after seeing the good things that could be exchanged with points, were tempted and joined the Adventurers Association, and their influence continued to expand. Back at the Invincible Palace, Lin Fei could finally sort out the huge harvest this time. About 40,000 soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland domain was definitely an unimaginable windfall. After a little forging, 40,000 heavy spear soldiers appeared. This time, Lin Fei did not forge heavy spear soldiers, but refined the long spear into a horizontal blade. Fortunately, after the establishment of the Adventurers Association, he did not need to worry about resources. Chapter 2273. In the Cloud Domain. On this day, a distinguished guest arrived. He was here to see Sacred Lord Fu Yun, who personally received him and invited him to a courtyard on a mountain peak. Brother Mo, you seem to be living a good life. The visitor took a sip of fragrant tea and put down the cup. It's too leisurely. Everyone has a tiring life. Sacred Lord Fu Yin was a title in the outside world. His real name was Mo Yuan, and he maintained his middle-aged appearance. Mo Yuan and Sacred Lord Infinite Desolation were ordinary friends. They weren't very familiar with each other. Since the other had come to see him, he naturally had to welcome him. Even if the Heaven Wasteland domain was ranked last, he was still a Sacred Lord. Ha ha ha. The visitor was Sacred Lord Infinite Desolation. It had been half a year since the Heaven Wasteland Palace was besieged. The two chatted casually. Most of it was related to their circle. Even though they didn't go out, they were still very clear about what was going on in the circle. Nothing could escape their eyes. I heard that the Curse Palace in your cloud domain is expanding very quickly. Sacred Lord Infinite Desolation wouldn't come to see Sacred Lord Mo Yuan for no reason. A strange look flashed across Mo Yuan's eyes. If there was a word that he didn't want to hear the most recently, it would be Curse Palace. Ever since the Palace Lord of the Curse Palace injured the Unity Ancestor, the Curse Palace's strength had rapidly expanded. It caused quite a commotion in the Cloud Domain, which made Mo Yuan very uncomfortable. This was equivalent to seriously affecting the changes in the Cloud Domain. In particular, some forces had begun to contact the Curse Palace frequently. A mere Curse Palace is nothing. Mo Yuan smiled. In the Cloud Domain, this Sacred Lord is still the one who calls the shots. Sacred Lord Infinite Desolation naturally noticed the change in the other party. Brother Mo, you can't be too careful about this. Do you know the ancestral family in my territory? Who knew if they would make things difficult for him without any warning? Would it be troublesome? Even in my territory, many people are talking about it. They say that the Curse Palace has the heart of a sacred lord. It was true that Mo Yuan was very concerned about the rise of the Curse Palace. If it wasn't for the fact that the Curse Palace was not easy to deal with, if it wasn't for the fact that the Curse Palace was difficult to deal with, he would have suppressed it long ago. Kiki, I don't think they have the courage. This is the Fu Yun world. What does the Curse Palace amount to? Mo Yuan was very unhappy. If the other party wasn't a holy master, he would have already flicked his sleeves and left. Mo Yuan's anger was exactly what the Sacred Lord of Infinite Wasteland wanted to see. Brother Mo, why do I hear that a peerless expert has secretly appeared in the Curse Palace? The Holy Master of Infinite Wasteland threw out another piece of shocking news. Mo Yuan's face darkened. Are you sure? After the Sacred Lord left, Mo Yuan immediately arranged for people to investigate the authenticity of the news. He did not believe that the Sacred Lord was simply passing by the Fuyun world. Everyone in the circle of Sacred Lords knew about what happened in Heaven Wasteland Domain. If not for the fact that they had no way of defeating the other party, the Heaven Wasteland Palace might have lost the right to control the Heaven Wasteland Palace, and it would have been difficult for the Holy Lord of Heaven Wasteland to remain in his position. The Fuyun Domain was not something that the Heaven Wasteland Domain could compare to. After all, the Fuyun Domain was ranked near the top, and there was more than one unparalleled expert guarding it. It was not a place that one could casually act presumptuously. Whether it was intentional or not, Mo Yuan had no choice but to take it seriously. He did not want to become a joke in the circle. The results of the investigation were soon out. The spies that Mo Yuan had sent out had indeed learned some inside information and guessed that there was a true unparalleled expert in the Curse Palace. This is not good news. Mo Yuan frowned slightly after the spies left. I didn't expect the Curse Palace to hide so deeply. The stronger the Curse Palace was, the worse it was for Mo Yuan, who controlled the Fuyun Domain. Sealed World, Invincible Palace. In the 6 months since Lin Fei returned, he basically did not go out much. Whether it was the Sealed World or the Heaven Wasteland Domain, the current situation was very good. The Heaven Wasteland Palace maintained a low profile, and its disciples rarely went out. They were recuperating. The Zong family's influence was constantly increasing, and the Netherworld Palace was constantly recruiting experts from the Heaven Wasteland Domain. Their forces were also expanding very quickly, and they had the momentum of the 3 countries. Lin Fei did not feel proud of this. To be honest, among the 3 forces, the Zong family should be the weakest, and it was not as strong as the Heaven Wasteland Palace or the Netherworld Palace. Fortunately, for a period of time, everyone did not interfere with each other and lived in harmony. During this half a year, Lin Fei did not idle around. For example, he explored the center of the boundary wall battlefield. His strength increased day by day, and he could get close to the center. That place was currently the best place for Lin Fei to improve his strength because there were corpses that did not rot for tens of thousands of years there. As long as he accumulated enough origin energy, He believed that he would be able to break into that place. Master, I just received news that Holy Lord Fu Yun of the Fuyun domain has attacked the Cursed Palace. Lin Fei was enjoying a beautiful morning when he suddenly heard the news from his subordinates. He could not help but be slightly stunned. It can't be. There was indeed a conflict of interest between the Cursed Palace of the Fuyun domain and the current ruler, Holy Lord Fuyun. Lin Fei had known about this a long time ago, but he did not expect it to erupt earlier. It's absolutely true. The Gui Yuan sect of the Fuyun domain has attacked with all their strength, and both sides have started a war. The Cursed Palace is also impressive, and almost 1/3 of the forces in the Fuyun domain have come to their side. Right now, the Fuyun domain is in chaos. The Gui Yuan sect is so powerful, much more powerful than the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Inside the Fuyun domain, many existences invisible to the naked eye were continuously transmitting information and images back. In the Invincible Palace, Lin Fei opened the system and observed the chaos in the Fuyun domain from a close distance. Logically speaking, the Gui Yuan sect should not have attacked so quickly. Lin Fei frowned. According to his original calculations, the conflict between the Cursed Palace and the Gui Yuan sect should have erupted 1 or 2 years later. It should not have happened now. The Cursed Palace bought a large number of curse mages from Lin Fei, and in addition to the cannon fodder warriors, such as battle emperors, their strength had greatly increased. In the beginning, the Cursed Palace had a slight upper hand. For the next few days, the Cursed Palace continuously defeated the attacks of the Gui Yuan sect. On the contrary, the morale of the Gui Yuan sect was somewhat low. Everyone knew that the Cursed Palace was powerful, but they did not expect it to be this powerful. The strength displayed by the Cursed Palace had shocked the entire Gui Yuan sect. They soon discovered one thing, and that was that the giant experts of the Cursed Palace were much stronger than before. When the same curse technique was used, the power was more than 10 times stronger. Lin Fei's name quickly appeared in the eyes of the higher-ups of the Gui Yuan sect. Curse mages and battle emperors were not people who could be easily cultivated. For the Cursed Palace to be so generous, they must have come from the sealed world. This was bad news for the Gui Yuan sect. Chapter 2274. The civil war in the Cloud Realm lasted for half a month. It started on a small scale at the beginning. Then, when the elders of the Cloud Realm took action, an all-out war broke out in the Cloud Realm. This caused quite a commotion in the sacred world. There was the incident in the Heaven Wasteland Realm, and now it was happening in the Cloud Realm. What was the meaning of this? The Gui Yuan clan and the Cursed Palace of the Fuyun Realm fought fiercely and ended up in a stalemate. The Cursed Palace displayed their powerful battle prowess, especially the high-level elders of the Cursed Palace. All of them had mastered powerful curse techniques, and the elders of the Gui Yuan clan had a headache dealing with them. In the beginning, 7 or 8 great experts were killed consecutively. From then on, the consecrated elders of the Gui Yuan clan did not dare to fight against the experts of the Cursed Palace alone. This infuriated Mo Yuan, Holy Lord. Ever since he suspected that the Cursed Palace had an unparalleled expert in their ranks, coupled with the fact that the other party was extremely ambitious, Mo Yuan had made use of this opportunity to weaken the strength of the Cursed Palace. Who would have thought that the news would leak out? Not only did the Cursed Palace not fall for his trap, they even launched a counterattack. Mo Yuan did not care too much about the loss at the beginning. In terms of strength, the Gui Yuan clan was more than 10 times stronger than the Cursed Palace. The Gui Yuan clan had 2 unparalleled experts, so it was not difficult for them to destroy the Cursed Palace. However, the battle continued to go out of control, and the Gui Yuan clan did not have any advantage. Mo Yuan, the Divine Lord, was thoroughly displeased. Tian Huang, Holy Lord, had indeed guessed correctly. The Cursed Palace's strength had reached such a level, and the curse techniques that he had seen in the past had also increased by several times. In a one-on-one battle, The leaders of the Gui Yuan sect had become helpless, and the influence of the Cursed Palace continued to expand. At this point, Mo Yuan had no choice but to mobilize all the strength of the Gui Yuan clan to attack the Cursed Palace. They were determined to completely defeat the Cursed Palace and remove it from the Cloud Realm. The two sides fought fiercely, attracting the attention of various forces in the sacred world. A month later, the leader of the Gui Yuan clan, Mo Wu, personally attacked the Cursed Palace as a powerful expert. He was prepared to defeat the Cursed Palace in one fell swoop and quickly end this farce. Just when everyone thought that the Cursed Palace could not avoid this and would be removed from the Cloud Realm, the Palace Lord of the Cursed Palace, Chu Huan, appeared. He faced the leader of the Gui Yuan clan, Mo Wu. Chu Huan, today is the day that the Cursed Palace perishes. As soon as Mo Wu came up, his great Dao patterns opened up and he slapped his palm towards Mantra Huan, blocking the power of the mantra technique in front of him. It was smashed into pieces with a single palm strike. This was the strength of an unparalleled expert. The curse technique was very strong, and unless it was used by an unparalleled expert, it would not be able to cause any harm to an unparalleled expert. We still don't know who will destroy who. Ever since Huan Mantra got the top-level incantation technique, even the body of 10,000 curses, he immediately went into closed-door training. Fortunately, he finally mastered all the top-level incantation techniques and even successfully cultivated the legendary body of 10,000 curses. Although it was not perfect for Huan Mantra, it was more than enough. The moment the two of them attacked, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Mo Wu's unparalleled strength was used at full force. The entire Fuyun world felt a terrifying pressure. That was the pressure from an unparalleled expert. 10,000 curse body. After Huan Mantra had cultivated the body of incantations, he had actually stepped into the unparalleled realm. Dense curses protected his body and blocked Mo Wu's attack. When Mo Wu saw the other party's body of 10,000 curses, he was greatly shocked. How could the joy incantation be successfully cultivated? Wasn't it said that it had long been lost? The Gui Yuan sect had never given up on monitoring the Cursed Palace. They had arranged for many spies. Naturally, they knew some of the secrets of the Cursed Palace. The Cursed Palace had never produced an unparalleled expert because it lacked a top-level secret technique. They didn't think that the Cursed Palace would have a chance to produce an unparalleled expert. Mo Wu couldn't accept the scene in front of him. The Cursed Palace had actually produced an unparalleled expert. Coupled with the support of the treasures of the Cursed Palace, Huan Mantra's strength had reached an unfathomable level. Dark curse finger. Cursed fire burns the heavens. With the protection of the body of 10,000 curses, Huan Mantra could finally hold his head high. Even if Mo Wu was an unparalleled expert, he could use the strangeness of the incantation techniques to completely suppress his opponent. At the very least, he could fight to a draw. To those who paid attention to the Fuyun world, the appearance of an unparalleled expert in the Cursed Palace was definitely not a small matter. On the contrary, it was a huge matter. The other party had quietly made a breakthrough, which was unacceptable. The incantation techniques of the Cursed Palace had always been something that various factions had tried to break. After so many years, they hadn't made much progress. Many sacred lords had once said that as long as the Cursed Palace didn't produce an unparalleled expert, there was no need to worry. On the contrary, once an unparalleled expert broke through, he would definitely be a terrifying opponent among the unparalleled experts. Now that someone from the Cursed Palace had made a breakthrough and mastered the long-lost top-level incantation techniques, the Cursed Palace had immediately transformed into a powerful faction that could fight against the Gui Yuan sect. This battle had completely exceeded everyone's expectations. The two experts from the Gui Yuan sect and the Cursed Palace had fought to a draw. If one had to say who had won, it would naturally be Huan Mantra, who had mastered incantation techniques. Mo Wu attacked fiercely several times, but he still couldn't suppress his opponent. Instead, he used up a lot of energy and had no choice but to stop attacking. It's true indeed. After hearing the news, Mo Yuan's expression darkened. The worst-case scenario had occurred. The Cursed Palace indeed had an unparalleled expert, and one that was extremely difficult to deal with. He's indeed difficult to deal with. Mo Wu had to admit that his opponent was difficult to deal with. He has also mastered the body of 10,000 curses, which can nullify most of our attacks. Just like the rumors say, he's extremely difficult to deal with. The worst-case scenario had occurred, and Mo Yuan had to accept it. Mobilize the prefectural soldiers in the mystery territory and attack the Cursed Palace. We must exhaust their strength. Mo Yuan said to Mo Wu, "Let's order 200,000 soldiers." Mo Wu's expression brightened. Once the prefectural soldiers attack, although the incantation techniques of the Cursed Palace are powerful, they might not be able to withstand the attack of the prefectural soldiers. As long as we can eliminate their strength, the Cursed Palace will not be able to survive. 200,000 prefectural soldiers were mobilized, and with a mighty momentum, they tore apart the defense line of the Cursed Palace. The prefectural soldiers were the trump card that the Gui Yuan sect had nurtured. In fact, every one of them was half a step away from the Gargantuan realm. Coupled with their full set of armor, their combat power increased exponentially, and they were an existence that gave everyone a headache. The Gui Yuan sect controlled the cloud world and obtained a large amount of resources. Naturally, the Cursed Palace could not compete with them. Once the 200,000 prefectural soldiers attacked, the Cursed Palace suffered heavy losses. The unparalleled expert, Huan Mantra, was also restrained by Mo Wu, and he couldn't alleviate the attacks of the prefectural soldiers. After a few days, the Cursed Palace suffered heavy losses. The Battle Emperor army and the Curse Masters all suffered heavy casualties. Palace Lord, if this goes on, the situation will be very disadvantageous for us. After 5 days, our Cursed Palace has lost more than 1 million cultivators. 2/3 of the Curse Master army has also been killed. If this continues, our foundation will be gone. Huan Mantra didn't expect the other party to act so quickly. If it wasn't for the spies that he had arranged to send back news, the Curse Palace might really have been devoured by the enemy. It's still not enough time. Huan Mantra saw the problem. If this matter wasn't resolved, the Curse Palace would really be finished. We have to find him. Chapter 2275. Here's the May 1st update. Don't go and play after reading it. Remember to vote for the monthly ticket first. From now on, you can enjoy double the monthly ticket for the 515 Fan Festival. You can also watch other events with red packets. Chu Huan's doppelganger came, and Lin Fei was no exception. The Fuyun realm was in chaos. If Chu Huan didn't know how to make a choice, he would be a failure. The Gui Yuan clan controlled the Fuyun realm and occupied 60 to 70% of the resources. Over the years, they had become unimaginably powerful. There weren't many top-notch experts, but the number of middle-level and high-level experts they trained was terrifying. Ever since the war broke out, the two sides were like fire and water. One side wanted to resist the attack of the Gui Yuan clan, while the other side wanted to destroy the Cursed Palace. At the very least, the Cursed Palace would suffer a great loss and struggle at death's door. Recently, the Gui Yuan clan's divine Lord Mo Yuan had spread his intentions. The forces that were on good terms with the Cursed Palace became fearful and didn't dare to make any moves. Help? No one was willing to offend a divine lord. The Cursed Palace's plan to seek help from the outside world ended in failure. Without external help, the Cursed Palace was undoubtedly at a disadvantage. As time dragged on, the situation would get worse and worse. In the end, they would be like fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered by the Gui Yuan clan. Fellow Taoist Ditian, you must help our Cursed Palace this time. Chu Huan came shamelessly. No one knew the strength of the Gui Yuan clan better than him. As long as you help the Curse Palace block the attack of the Gui Yuan clan, we are willing to pay any price. Chu Huan could only count on Ditian now. Although the Curse Palace had displayed terrifying strength, there was still a gap between them and the Gui Yuan clan. It wasn't something that could be reversed in a short period of time. If not for the upgraded curse techniques provided by Lin Fei, the gap between the two sides would be even greater. Although they weren't completely vulnerable, the gap was almost the same. Chu Huan could only seek help from Ditian. He believed that as long as Ditian agreed to help, they would definitely be able to block the attack of the Gui Yuan clan. Lin Fei had been paying attention to the chaos in the Fuyun realm. He knew that this day would come. Ever since he attacked the Unity sect, he had paid a great price. The benefits were unimaginable. For example, the recent attack on the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The number of heavy gunners on hand had increased by a large amount, all of which were provided by the enemy. Fuyun World was in chaos. Lin Fei was the first to clap and cheer. His heavy armored troops could be used once more. Brother Curse, you think too highly of my invincible palace. Lin Fei laughed. The Gui Yuan sect is extremely powerful. My small arms and legs are no match for them. Chu Huan didn't believe Ditian's bullshit. What small arms and legs? It was fine for Ditian to bluff others, but to bluff in front of her? How shameless. Fellow Taoist, if your invincible palace is weak, then my curse palace is nothing. Chu Huan smiled. This time I came with sincerity. The curse palace will do its best to fulfill any of your conditions. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't get reinforcements, Chu Huan wouldn't be willing to come here. Lin Fei was just putting on airs. If he agreed so easily, it would be too obvious. It would be easy for others to guess some things which he didn't want to see. Because of what you said, I have to help you no matter what. Lin Fei refused several times before finally agreeing. Recently, the Adventurer Guild has established a new department to organize mercenaries. Chu Huan's eyes lit up. Mercenaries? Chu Huan's eyes lit up. Mercenaries? Lin Fei already had an idea about mercenaries. He hadn't realized it. After the battle in the Heaven Wasteland domain ended, they provided him with a large number of half-step giant corpses. He could finally arrange for mercenaries. Actually, the meaning of mercenaries is very simple. Lin Fei explained with a smile. As long as the mercenaries fought well from now on, the mercenaries would definitely become an existence that the sacred world couldn't ignore. Chu Huan gave him a thumbs up. His eyes were filled with joy. Mercenaries. What a good name. What are they? My mercenaries will all be of the half-step giant realm, coupled with sharp weapons and armor. Every half-step giant will be able to defeat their opponents of the same level. Brother Ditian, don't make me drool. What's the price for you to arrange mercenaries? Chu Huan's eyes lit up. He secretly thought of something. It was about the Heaven Wasteland domain. He thought to himself, could it be that the heavy armored soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland domain were hired by the Zhong family to fight? If that's true. His face darkened. My mercenaries are all elites, so the price is naturally not cheap, said Lin Fei unhurriedly. No matter who wins or loses, your curse palace will have to pay a certain amount of energy points. For example, this time, Brother Curse, you are facing a large force like the Gui Yuan sect. They will definitely send out their elites, but you only need to pay 5 billion energy points. 5 billion energy points was not a simple number. Back when they were exchanging resources, Lin Fei had secretly lowered the exchange rate. Every single energy point was extremely precious, and there was no room for error. Only a major organization like the Curse Palace would be able to fork out 5 billion energy points. This was where Lin Fei was smart. Chu Huan was very clear about the size of 5 billion energy points. Even the Curse Palace would need to expend a lot of effort to get 5 billion energy points. When he thought about the fact that the elite mercenaries were all half-step giant realm, they could become the prefecture soldiers of the Gui Yuan sect. That was a total of 200,000 soldiers. He was going all out in order to deal with the Curse Palace. Can the number of mercenaries stop 200,000 prefecture soldiers? Chu Huan was not afraid of paying. He was just worried that the number of mercenaries was not enough. 200,000 prefecture soldiers were extremely powerful. If it was not for the 200,000 prefecture soldiers, the Curse Palace might not be afraid of the Gui Yuan sect. After all, the Curse Palace had about 20,000 Heaven Curse Masters. It's just 200,000 prefecture soldiers. I'm not bragging, but it's not difficult to deal with them. The purpose of our mercenaries is to help whoever has the money. Chu Huan did not know whether to laugh or cry. 5 billion energy points is a huge number. For the Curse Palace, I will pay it even if I have to grit my teeth. In the end, Chu Huan still decided to listen to Di Tian. For the sake of the Curse Palace, 5 billion energy points is a huge number. Lin Fei laughed. As our first client, you'll be satisfied. In the future, it won't be so easy to get mercenaries from the Adventurers Guild. A rare look of anticipation appeared in Chu Huan's eyes. Looking at the dense group of mercenaries, Chu Huan's eyes widened subconsciously. He could not believe what he was seeing. The aura that gathered together was like a sharp knife that could decide a person's life or death. There was no other choice. When Chu Huan first saw this, he thought he had seen a ghost. Such a powerful force was like a heavenly card. Do you believe me now? Lin Fei turned around and smiled. Congratulations, my friend. From now on, the mercenaries in your hands will shake the entire sacred realm. May I know the name of this mercenary? Chu Huan asked respectfully. The mercenary is called Nightmare. Chapter 2276. Here's the May 1st update. Don't rush to play after reading it. Remember to vote for the monthly ticket first. From now on, you can enjoy double monthly tickets for the 515 fan day. You can also take a look at other activities that have red packets. A smile finally appeared on Mo Yuan's face when he heard the report. Ever since the Gui Yuan sect mobilized 200,000 prefectural soldiers, the disadvantageous situation had changed. The Gui Yuan sect was gradually suppressing the Curse Palace's counterattack. It wouldn't take long before they would be able to completely defeat the Curse Palace. This was a clever move by the Gui Yuan sect. As the Sacred Lord, Mo Yuan had personally spread the word. As long as one wasn't a fool, basically no one would be willing to offend such a colossus. Everything was under his control. As for the Curse Palace's request for reinforcements, it was basically useless. No one was willing to lend a hand, and it was only a matter of time before the Gui Yuan clan defeated the Curse Palace. The Gui Yuan clan finally had a chance to seize the powerful curse arts of the Curse Palace. Obtaining the complete cultivation method from the Curse Palace had always been the dream of the various major forces. Unfortunately, no one had ever succeeded. The Curse Palace is going to lose. That's right. The Gui Yuan sect controls the cloud world and has absolute power. The Curse Palace is courting death. Who doesn't know that the Gui Yuan clan has 450,000 soldiers under their control? They can suppress all resistance. I heard that those organizations that are on good terms with the Curse Palace have all chosen to remain silent. There are also some who have publicly announced that they are cutting off all ties with the Curse Palace. Gui Yuan is about to reach the heavens in a single bound. I know, right? The Fu Yun domain was much more powerful than the Heaven Wasteland domain. No one was optimistic about the Curse Palace. Even though the Curse Palace had great legacies that were not inferior to the 10 great techniques, they were still too weak in front of the ferocious Gui Yuan sect. Once the 200,000 prefecture soldiers moved out, their momentum was vast and mighty, crushing everything in their path. The powerhouses of the Cursed Palace were basically all fending them off. If one of them couldn't deal with them, they would send a few more powerhouses to hold back the rest of the Cursed Palace. Having lost their main force to counterattack, the remaining forces were no match for the prefecture soldiers. Over the past few days, only 20,000 of the 200,000 soldiers had been lost. They had gained the upper hand, and the Cursed Palace's forces were forced to retreat, all the way back to the Cursed Palace. 180,000 prefectural soldiers were already at the city gates. No matter what, the Cursed Palace was clearly at a disadvantage. The Cursed Palace would be completely removed from the Fuyan world. On this day, 180,000 prefectural soldiers surrounded the Cursed Palace, sealing off all exits. Cursed Joy, your Cursed Palace has been surrounded by us. You have half a day to come out and surrender. Otherwise, we will launch a frenzied attack and destroy your Cursed Palace. Mo Wu had a smile on his face, but there was a hint of disdain in his eyes. The Cursed Palace was very powerful, but under the pressure of the great army, Mo Wu only needed to give the order, and the 180,000 prefecture soldiers would be able to break through the Cursed Palace's defensive array formation and charge into the palace. Exterminate all resistance. Sovereign Mo, isn't your Gui Yuan sect very powerful? If you have the ability, why don't you kill your way in? Chu Huan said coldly. You want our Cursed Palace to open the door and surrender? Who do you think you are? Mo Wu's face darkened. Stubborn fellow, this is giving you a chance. So don't blame the sect master for being ruthless. After half a day, we will attack. Kill without mercy. Attack! Attack! Mo Wu personally attacked the Cursed Palace formation. The Gui Yuan sect had long studied the Cursed Palace formation. This time they attacked in a specific way, continuously attacking certain parts of the Cursed Palace. A series of ripples were blasted out. Sovereign, our formation can't hold on for much longer. Sovereign, let's fight it out with them. None of our Cursed Palace are cowards. The elders of the Cursed Palace were unafraid of death. If they lost this battle, the higher-ups of the Cursed Palace would not have a good ending. It was better to die on the battlefield than to surrender. Only Chu Huan was the calmest. Through his clone, he knew the situation of the mercenaries. When the mercenaries intervened, they would definitely be able to turn the situation around. 180,000 prefectural soldiers. Once they are heavily injured by the mercenaries, the Gui Yuan sect will definitely suffer a great loss. Their control over the Fuyan world will also decrease. This is an opportunity for the Cursed Palace. A cold light flashed in the Cursed Palace. A hint of joy disappeared in a flash. No one noticed this change. Boom, boom, boom. The Cursed Palace formation was on the verge of collapse. After a series of fierce attacks, the formation was broken. Kill. Once the formation was broken, the 180,000 prefectural soldiers and powerful cultivators all rushed in. Even Mo Yuan, the Divine Lord, appeared in person to prevent others from taking advantage of the situation. Sovereign Curse, I still have to thank you. Without your rebellion, we would not have a suitable reason to deal with you. Mo Wu activated his treasure and faced Chu Huan. It's still uncertain who will win. Chu Huan activated his god altar. His combat power increased exponentially. Powerful curse techniques blasted towards Mo Wu. The two of them fought fiercely. The momentum was earth-shattering. One side used strange curse techniques, while the other side used the great path attacks. For a moment, both sides were locked in a fierce battle. Sovereign Curse, are you really going to resist to the end? Mo Wu pointed a finger, and the great path appeared behind him. You are like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. In front of 180,000 prefectural soldiers, your Cursed Palace will soon be destroyed. From now on, the name Cursed Palace will no longer exist. Mo once again used a killing move. The great path behind him surged and revealed its murderous intent. For a moment, it suppressed Chu Huan's curse techniques and forced him to go all out. Chu Huan was protected by the body of 10,000 curses. His opponent's attacks were fierce, but they could not hurt him for a while. It's about time. Mo Wu was taken aback when he suddenly said this. He did not understand what he meant. Lin Fei, who was hiding in the dark, naturally knew what this meant. He looked at the dense mass of heavy spearmen, swordsmen, and swordsmen behind him and smiled. Nightmare, move out. After removing the system's protection, 100,000 mercenaries immediately appeared in everyone's field of vision. Kill. This time, Lin Fei had mobilized 100,000 heavy-armored half-step giants. Lin Fei had personally refined armor and weapons for each of the half-step heavyweights. He had put in a lot of effort. The 3 different types of soldiers had almost the same combat power. There was not much difference. Who are those people? What a terrifying aura. They have the same aura as the 180,000 prefectural soldiers. This is unbelievable. Could they be helpers from the Curse Palace? 100,000 nightmare mercenaries moved as one. Their murderous intent soared into the sky. At this moment, the 180,000 prefectural soldiers had split up. They did not gather together. They separated the people from the Curse Palace into different areas and attacked them one by one. As soon as the nightmare mercenaries appeared, they turned into black shadows that filled the sky and charged toward the closest area. There were 30,000 prefectural soldiers in this area. They were slightly stunned when they saw the black armored soldiers charging out. Then they revealed expressions of joy. One of the leaders shouted, "Kill them all!" Bang! A ray of light came. The leader raised his saber and tried to slash, but he suddenly realized that he had slashed thin air. He could not block the opponent's attack. Then his consciousness fell into endless darkness. How can he be more powerful than me? Blood gushed out of the leader's forehead. A spear had pierced through it. Chapter 2277. Bang, bang, bang. As soon as the nightmare mercenaries appeared, they transformed into a sharp knife. One by one, the prefecture soldiers fell from the sky, creating large holes in ground. Be it in terms of strength or equipment, the nightmare mercenaries were incomparable to the prefecture soldiers. The crowd could only see the prefecture soldiers falling from the sky. The sound of the prefecture soldiers falling from the sky echoed throughout the city. In just a short period of time, the prefecture soldiers in a certain area were all killed. Stop them. They are our reinforcements. Chu Huan's voice spread out, echoing in the ears of the disciples of the Curse Palace. Kill. They can't hold on any longer. We will win for sure. The nightmare mercenaries displayed their tyrannical side. They crushed the invincible prefecture soldiers and immediately turned the situation around. Young Master Chu Lei, the eldest son of the Curse Palace, took the opportunity to launch a ferocious attack on the cultivators of the Gui Yuan clan, who were at a loss. He killed several prefecture soldiers on the spot. The cultivators of the Curse Palace behind him also had expressions of joy on their faces. Stop them quickly. Mo Wu, the sect leader, was clearly stunned for a moment. It was a look of disbelief on his face. A dignified prefecture soldier had actually been killed in such a one-sided manner. When he came to his senses, he immediately gathered the major powers and prepared to blast away that mysterious army. How could the people of the Curse Palace let them succeed? Curses blasted over, forming a barrier of curses. They forcefully suppressed the people of the Gui Yuan clan, making it impossible for them to help. In order to deal with the Curse Palace, most of the strength of the Gui Yuan clan was gathered here. After all, they still needed to guard the rear. They couldn't let others take over their base. No, their curses are too powerful. We can't go up. The big shots of the Gui Yuan clan tried to break through the barrier. The attacks of the opponent were very aggressive. In addition, the curses were traceless. It wasn't easy to deal with them. Instead, they were left with many injuries. Where did these black armored soldiers come from? How can they be so powerful? Mo Yuan's heart skipped a beat. He saw a terrifying scene. The 200,000 prefecture soldiers were decreasing rapidly. Almost every moment, there were prefecture soldiers dying. These were the reinforcements of the Curse Palace. Mo Yuan had always thought that the Curse Palace wouldn't have any reinforcements. When his words spread out, no one dared to not think twice. The consequences were unacceptable. However, the sudden appearance of the black armored army displayed an unparalleled power. No one dared to believe that this was real. The 100,000 black armored army had actually suppressed the prefectural soldiers. The 200,000 prefectural soldiers had been reduced to 150,000. In the blink of an eye, 50,000 prefectural soldiers had been killed. Sacred Lord Fu Yin, your mansion's soldiers are going to be finished. At this moment, Chu Huan finally smiled. Although she had to pay 5 billion energy points, the effect was still very good. The Gue Yuan sect soldiers could not stop the attack of the nightmare mercenaries at all. Even if you have reinforcements, it's only 100,000. Mo Yuan continued to attack Curse Joy, leaving behind a series of afterimages. His treasures soared into the sky and bombarded the black armored army in the distance. Mo Yuan was no fool. He could see everything clearly. The black armored army in front of him was definitely a terrifying existence. Their individual combat strength was very strong, and the equipment they wore were all of high quality, completely superior to the prefecture soldiers they had trained. He really did not want to accept the scene in front of him, but the black armored army that was constantly slaughtering prefecture soldiers forced him to accept reality. We must destroy them. This was an urgent matter. He was clearly about to destroy the Curse Palace, but this force suddenly appeared. In terms of strength and speed, they surpassed the prefecture soldiers. It was no less than a blow to his head. After the fierce attack, Mo Yuan prepared to deal with the black armored army. This was to regain his advantage. Bang! The powerful attack of the treasures was blocked by a treasure that appeared in the void. It's you, Di Tian. Mo Yuan did not understand why the other party was here. That treasure was the blood sky seal that Di Tian often used. It was completely blood red, and it blocked in front of Mo Yuan. Lin Fei stood on the blood sky seal. That's right. You guessed correctly. It's me. Mo Yuan had heard of Di Tian's name before. He did not pay much attention to him. Di Tian was just a nouveau riche. In a place like the Sacred Realm, he would be eaten up sooner or later. Mo Yuan had never paid much attention to him. As for the fact that the power of the Curse Palace had increased, Mo Yuan did not believe that it was because of Di Tian. How dare you block my way? You can die now. Mo Yuan's eyes narrowed, and he shot out 2 Jingguang rays that were filled with a terrifying aura of destruction. At this moment, even the void seemed to be frozen. Mo Yuan, the Sacred Lord, did not care about someone who was not even a giant yet. The Sacred Lord is indeed powerful. He is much more powerful than the Sacred Lord of infinite desolation. Lin Fei thought to himself. He did not dare to let his guard down. This person was not the Sacred Lord of infinite desolation. Body of 10,000 curses. Lin Fei activated the body of 10,000 curses. Curse techniques filled the sky, forming a terrifying domain that blocked the 2 Jingguang rays. Another body of 10,000 curses. Mo Yuan's heart sank. The body of 10,000 curses was the most powerful curse technique of the Curse Palace. Once this curse technique was used, it could reduce the power of an attack by 60 to 70%. It was very difficult to break. While Lin Fei was delayed, Curse of Joy charged forward, forcing Mo Yuan to stop attacking Lin Fei. After all, Curse of Joy was not easy to deal with. It was quite difficult to deal with the strange curse technique. Curse technique, num. Curse technique, in curse finger. Mo Yuan did not have time to deal with Lin Fei, but it did not mean that Lin Fei did not have time to attack. While Curse of Joy was using his curse technique to attack his opponent, he used his origin energy to cast a curse technique. How can his curse technique be so powerful? Its power is at least at the unparalleled realm. After being hit by the curse technique, Mo Yuan instantly felt that he had lost control of his body. Although it was only for a breath's time, the Yin curse finger poked his body. His body shook on the spot, and his blood and qi churned, almost spurting out. Good chance. Curse of Joy was overjoyed. He took advantage of the opportunity and slammed into Mo Yuan. Mo Yuan was sent flying and smashed into a mountain. Old ancestor, our prefecture army has suffered heavy losses. We have lost 100,000 soldiers. Mo Wu was forced to be unable to help. In a short period of time, they had lost 100,000 prefecture soldiers, while the other side had less than 5,000 casualties. It was a slap in the face. 100,000? The prefectural soldiers were the strongest trump card of the Gui Yuan sect. No faction could withstand the attack of the prefectural soldiers. However, in the blink of an eye, they had lost 100,000 soldiers. This was not a good number. It had been many years since the Gui Yuan sect had suffered such a heavy loss. Mo Yuan made a prompt decision. Retreat. The strength of the black armored army was beyond Mo Yuan's imagination. If this continued, it was not impossible that all 200,000 prefecture soldiers would be wiped out. Curse of Joy invited Di Tian, and the two of them worked together to threaten him. Mo Yuan did not have the upper hand at the moment, and there was no need to continue fighting. They could only retreat. Under Mo Yuan's command, the defeated soldiers gathered together and retreated. The battle in the sky stopped. Curse of Joy, you win this round. Mo Yuan was straightforward. Although he was unwilling, with the appearance of Di Tian, it was impossible to defeat his opponent. Let's wait and see the next round. Mo Yuan retreated with his people. We won. We won. All hail the Curse Palace. Chapter 2278. The battle between the Curse Palace and the Gui Yuan sect in the Cloud Realm had always been closely watched. Almost all the major powers in the sacred world were watching because of the Curse Palace. Many powers in the sacred world were secretly watching the Curse Palace. The conflict between the Curse Palace and the Gui Yuan sect in the Cloud Realm was undoubtedly a hot topic for many people. If possible, they didn't mind taking a bite out of the Curse Palace, but they had to have the opportunity. At the beginning, the Curse Palace's strength shocked everyone. They were able to gain the upper hand at the beginning, and the person from the Curse Palace had unknowingly advanced to an unparalleled level. This was beyond everyone's imagination. When the Gui Yuan sect sent out 200,000 strong prefecture soldiers and crushed the Curse Palace, the situation changed day by day. In everyone's eyes, the Curse Palace's weakness was that it didn't have enough prefecture soldiers. If the Curse Palace had, the outcome of the battle would be difficult to determine. On the last day, when the Gui Yuan sect was at the gates of the city and the Curse Palace was on the verge of collapsing, they sent out a group of reinforcements. The reinforcements crushed the 200,000 prefectural soldiers in a domineering manner. 100,000 prefectural soldiers were killed on the spot, while less than 10,000 of their opponents were injured. This shocked all the factions that were paying attention. Who can tell me who those black armor soldiers are? They're too strong. 100,000 people wiped out 200,000 prefecture soldiers. How strong are they? How terrifying. From now on, who would dare to think that Di Tian can only hide in the sealed world? Di Tian's appearance with the black armor soldiers attracted a lot of attention. Even the fact that Bai Tian had cultivated the body of 10,000 curses attracted a lot of attention. After all, such a powerful black armored army was already at such a level with only 100,000 people. If there were 200,000 or 500,000, just how terrifying would that be? No one dared to imagine it. Perhaps, aside from those small sacred worlds that were close to the front, other forces would not be able to stop them. Investigate. Investigate immediately. Why is Di Tian in the Cursed Palace? Where did that black armor army come from? Mo Wu was filled with anger, and he kept roaring at his subordinates. In order to defeat the Cursed Palace, Missouri Wu had sealed off all exits. Even now, his subordinates couldn't give an explanation as to why Di Tian could still appear. Little Mo, you can't blame your subordinates for this. The Gue Yuan sect's temporary encampment was 500,000 miles away. After what happened during the day, the defenses around the Gue Yuan sect had increased by several times. You can leave now. As soon as Mo Yuan spoke, the people kneeling on the ground immediately disappeared, leaving only sacred Lord Mo Yuan and Mo Wu behind. But Mo Wu was unwilling to give up. We were so close. It's all Di Tian's fault. He caused our Gue Yuan sect to lose 100,000 soldiers. The Gue Yuan sect had a total of 500,000 prefectural soldiers. This was accumulated over a long period of time and was their greatest asset in ruling the prefectural cloud world. Without this trump card, the strength of the Gue Yuan sect would be greatly reduced. Now, they had lost 100,000 soldiers in a single day. This was something that had never happened before. As the sect master, Mo Wu could not help but be angry. No one expected Di Tian to be so capable. Mo Yuan was still recalling those black armored soldiers were extraordinary. They were wielding long spears, long blades, and long swords. The weapons in their hands should have been forged from special materials. It's extremely terrifying, and it's only a step away from a giant treasure. Mo Wu took a deep breath. Damn it, where did that Di Tian get it from? 100,000 strong black armored soldiers were mobilized. This was the first time they had ever heard of it. It was truly an incredible thing. Now we can only wait, Mo Wu said. Wait? Taoist Di Tian, thank you so much. The arrival of Lin Fei's mercenaries eased the pressure on the Cursed Palace and forced the Gue Yuan sect to retreat 500,000 li. They finally had a chance to catch their breath. After they left, Chu Huan came up to express his gratitude. This result was already within his expectations. He could finally relax. The nightmare mercenaries were stronger than he had imagined. This time, the Cursed Palace finally had a way to resist the Gue Yuan sect's prefectural soldiers. Lin Fei laughed. Don't be too happy yet. The Gue Yuan sect suffered a loss. The loss of 100,000 soldiers isn't too heavy. They still have 400,000 soldiers. Chu Huan laughed dryly. Then what do you think? While they are resting, we must take the initiative to attack them. It's best if we can eliminate the remaining 100,000 soldiers. Lin Fei said straightforwardly. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? The Cursed Palace had been under attack for a long time, and Chu Huan was exhausted. For a moment, he forgot that he could take the initiative to attack the Gue Yuan sect. Yes, we should take the initiative to attack the Gue Yuan sect and eliminate the remaining 100,000 soldiers. They won't dare to act recklessly for a while. Chu Huan admired Di Tian's courage. After pondering for a while, she didn't hesitate at all. Just like what Di Tian had said, in the Cloud Prefecture realm, there were experts that were similar to the prefectural soldiers. If the Gue Yuan sect lost another 100,000 prefectural soldiers, the forces in the Cloud Prefecture realm would have different thoughts. By the way, have you collected the corpses? Lin Fei asked. Chu Huan did not dare to ask where the corpses were. The terrifying combat power displayed by the 100,000 nightmare mercenaries had made Chu Huan regard them as people on the same level as him. "I've collected them long ago. Also, I've collected all the corpses that I killed before. There are more than 133,000 corpses in total." Chu Huan took this matter very seriously. He collected the corpses of every half-step magnate and even the magnate. Not bad, not bad. Hearing that there were 130,000 corpses, Lin Fei was very satisfied. "Only through war can I obtain a large number of corpses of half-step magnate and magnate, which can increase my strength. If I can eliminate another 100,000 soldiers tonight." The moon was dark and the stars were sparse. It was destined to be a night suitable for killing. "Father, can Tian really sneak in?" "The Holy Lord is personally guarding the temporary encampment," Cursed Thunder said worriedly on a mountain peak. "We can only trust him." Chu Huan was very confident. "As long as we defeat the 100,000 soldiers of the Gui Yuan sect tonight, the Cursed Palace will be able to solve this crisis." Cursed Thunder suddenly asked, "Father, why do you think Tian collected the corpses? Could it be related to these mercenaries?" Chu Huan's face darkened, and he shouted, "Don't say such things in the future. You can only bury them in your heart. Tian is not someone you can offend, even if it's the Cursed Palace. The defense is several times tighter. The Gui Yuan sect is really careful. It's a pity that you—" Lin Fei sneaked into the encampment. Under the guidance of the system, Lin Fei quickly arrived at the resting area of the 100,000 soldiers. "I'm afraid you guys never thought that I would attack you at this time." Chapter 2279. In the battle during the day, more than 100,000 of the 200,000 prefecture soldiers had been killed. This had also traumatized the invincible prefecture soldiers. Even now, they still had lingering fears. In the temporary encampment, the prefecture soldiers gathered in groups of 3 to 5. "Damn, who knows where those black armored soldiers came from during the day? They're too terrifying. Their speed is faster than ours, and their strength is also much stronger than ours. That black armored soldier with a long spear is the same as the heavy spear soldiers in the sealed city. It can't be." Lin Fei snuck into the center of the 100,000 prefecture soldiers. Through the monitoring system, he saw that Holy Lord Fuyun was some distance away. Lin Fei felt more at ease as he could carry out the night attack. "Nightmare mercenaries, move out!" With a wave of his hand, Lin Fei recalled all the mercenaries and appeared in the center of the prefecture soldiers. Bang! The heavy spear soldier shot the head of the nearest prefecture soldier, causing a cloud of blood to explode. Not good. The nearest prefectural soldier suspected that his eyes were playing tricks on him. Then a saber light chopped down, and he lost consciousness, sinking into boundless darkness. Lin Fei sent out the 90,000 nightmare mercenaries. As soon as the mercenaries appeared, everyone was caught off guard. One by one, the mansion soldiers fell into a pool of blood, their eyes wide open. They died with grievances. "Kill! Kill!" In the encampment, the nightmare mercenaries appeared and started a massacre. The prefecture soldiers had already been traumatized during the day. Now that they faced them again, they could no longer suppress the fear in their hearts. "Great, attack immediately!" Chu Huan had been paying attention. The moment the flames shot into the sky, he knew that Tian had succeeded. Cursed technique, meteor rain. As soon as Chu Huan appeared, he used his ultimate technique. The sky full of fire rained down like meteors. Anyone who was hit would have a bloody hole. At the same time, a scorching heat would burn their entire body. Dozens of meteor rain rained down on their bodies. They died on the spot. The entire encampment was in chaos. The great experts who had just flown out were attacked by the cursed technique. They were completely stunned. "Chu Huan, you're courting death." Mo rushed up and saw the prefecture soldiers falling in the distance. That was the most important trump card of the Gui Yuan sect. Ha ha ha, you can't. The Gui Yuan sect had neglected the existence of Ditian and was successfully attacked at night. In this battle, the Gui Yuan sect lost once again. Even Mo Yuan, a sacred lord, was unable to turn the situation around. As soon as he arrived, he was held back by others and had no way to eliminate the black armored army. Ditian, I'll remember you. The 100,000 prefectural soldiers were quickly killed, with the exception of a few that managed to escape. The rest were all killed by the black armored army. With no other choice, Mo Yuan could only retreat once again. In less than 2 hours, the Gui Yuan sect retreated. This time, the Gui Yuan sect retreated from the area of the Cursed Palace. They retracted their defenses and retreated hundreds of millions of miles away. Let's go back. Mo Yuan let out a long sigh as he listened to his subordinates report. We'll have to think about it at length. The 200,000 prefectural soldiers were almost annihilated, and the Gui Yuan sect suffered a great loss. There was no need to continue. As long as Ditian's black armored army existed, it would be impossible for the Gui Yuan sect to defeat them. They've retreated. We've already retreated for billions of miles. They've started to retreat. According to the direction they're leaving in, they seem to be returning to Origin sect. News came one after another. That's great, we've won. Young Master Chu Lei couldn't help but shout. The Gui Yuan sect was pressing on, and the Cursed Palace was having a hard time. A dark cloud was constantly hanging over their heads, and no one knew how long the Cursed Palace could last. It wasn't until Ditian appeared that the Cursed Palace finally saw hope. In just one day, the Cursed Palace had defeated the Gui Yuan sect's attack and even killed 200,000 prefectural soldiers. 200,000? Everyone knew what 200,000 prefectural soldiers represented. It was definitely a terrifying nightmare. Congratulations, my friend. Your nightmare mercenaries are about to shake the sacred world. Chu Huan walked over. Lin Fei was very satisfied with tonight's night attack. After losing 200,000 prefectural soldiers, the situation in the cloud domain had changed drastically. The Gui Yuan sect had to reconsider their future. Retreating was the best option for the Gui Yuan sect. Regarding the nightmare mercenaries, I'll have to trouble you to help me spread the news. Since we're doing business, we have to let everyone know about it. It's best to wait for 3 days before spreading the news. Lin Fei said. No problem, it's just a small matter. Chu Huan wanted to say something, but he held back in the end. The next day, the news that the Gui Yuan sect had lost 200,000 prefectural soldiers spread like wildfire. Everyone who was paying attention was shocked. They looked at each other and couldn't believe it was true. The Gui Yuan sect, with 200,000 prefectural soldiers, was defeated by 100,000 black armored soldiers? This piece of news was far too unreal. Everyone was trying to find out the truth of the news. After all, 100,000 black armored soldiers, killing 200,000 prefectural soldiers, was a big event that shook the sacred world. If it was 500,000 black armored soldiers, wouldn't they be able to kill 1 million or even 2 million prefectural soldiers? This was something that moved everyone. Some of them even started to plot against the black armored soldiers. The cloud domain temporarily calmed down. The Gui Yuan sect completely retreated, and the Cursed Palace's reputation soared. To be able to force the Gui Yuan sect to retreat and kill 200,000 prefectural soldiers, everyone thought that the Cursed Palace had the ability to fight against the Gui Yuan sect. At the very least, they were on the same level. Spies from various sacred worlds entered the cloud domain and kept investigating what happened yesterday. Gradually, one person after another appeared. Ditian, who sealed the world, gradually entered everyone's vision. The black armored soldiers were brought here by Ditian. Ditian interfered? The Dtion who sealed the world. How is that possible? Looking at the information that was sent to them, everyone was dumbfounded. Dtion. It was a very ordinary name. He was not someone to be trifled with. He controlled a sealed world and was the local tyrant. No one was willing to let Dtion come to the sacred world to cause trouble. Everyone knew that Dtion had a secret trump card. He was not easy to deal with. Many of the sacred leaders' clones had been killed. Continue the investigation. Dtion came to the Cloud Domain to help the Curse Palace deal with the Gui Yuan sect. The strength that the black armored soldiers displayed was not to be underestimated. This was already a force that the sacred leader controlled. 100,000 black armored soldiers were able to kill 200,000 prefectural soldiers. This was very significant. More spies entered the Cloud Domain. This investigation lasted for 3 days, and the information they obtained was very little. Almost all of it was one-sided, and it was not the information they needed at all. On the 4th day, the palace lord of the Curse Palace, Curse Juan, personally announced a piece of news. When the news came out, countless people were dumbfounded. The Gui Yuan sect used their seniority to deal with the Curse Palace, but in the end, the Curse Palace still won. Here, the Curse Palace would like to thank the Adventure Association of the Invincible Palace. It was because of the Adventure Association that we launched the mercenary business that the Curse Palace was able to turn the situation around. Nightmare Mercenaries, good job! Chapter 2280. Mercenaries? What's that? Could it be that the black armored army provided by Dtion can participate in the battle? The Nightmare Black Armored Army? As the palace lord, Chu Huan, personally announced it to the public, the spies were extremely excited. They finally collected important information and hurriedly reported it to their superiors. The Nightmare Mercenaries? Anyone can be hired. The first to know the news was the Gui Yuan clan. Their spies began to gather information. After Mo Wu knew, he immediately came to tell Mo Yuan, the sacred lord. After hearing the news, Mo Yuan could not digest it for a while. That's what Chu Huan announced. Mo Wu's hatred towards Chu Huan was average, but he was filled with boundless hatred towards Dtion. 200,000 prefecture soldiers were gone. This wasn't something that could be vented in a short period of time. It should be true. Mo Yuan seemed to understand a little. He squinted his eyes and said, Dtion, if it's true, the Gui Yuan clan is destined to become a joke. Moreover, we have become Dtion's test subjects. Damn it. Mo Wu also understood immediately. The Gui Yuan clan's retreat is equivalent to making the Nightmare Mercenaries famous. I'm afraid that those big powers will be very interested in the Nightmare Mercenaries. Mo Yuan could not help but laugh bitterly. I didn't expect that bastard to play such a good show. The Nightmare Mercenaries will become famous after this battle. Old ancestor, are we just going to let this go? Mo Wu was still unwilling. They did not lose to the Curse Palace, but to that bastard Dtion. Mo Yuan, the sacred lord, had a better mentality than Mo Wu and was more far-sighted. However, he gradually began to hate someone in his heart. It was the sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland who had passed by. Good, that sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland dared to trick the Gui Yuan clan. You guys must take this. If it was not for the sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland's provocation, Mo Yuan would not have attacked. It was all the sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland's fault. In his opinion, the sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland must have known about the existence of the mercenaries and wanted to see the Gui Yuan clan suffer. Mo Yuan was determined to vent his anger. Arrange for someone to send a message to the Curse Palace. Tell them that this was done by the sacred lord of Infinite Wasteland. Black armored army with long spears. Nightmare Mercenaries. Heaven Wasteland Domain. The Heaven Wasteland Saint Lord's face darkened as he heard the news. Could it be that the Zong family hired mercenaries from the sealed world? The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland had not forgotten what had happened last time. If not for the support of the Zong family, the Heaven Wasteland Palace would not have suffered such a crushing defeat, and most of the Heaven Wasteland divine soldiers would have been wiped out. As a result, the Heaven Wasteland domain gradually lost control. Without a deterrent force, the powers that controlled the Zong clan and the Netherworld Palace became more and more subservient. Some even took the initiative to contact the Zong clan and the Netherworld Palace. Damnable Detian, damnable mercenaries, and damnable Zong clan! Sacred Lord Infinite Wasteland roared. When the various major powers found out about the Nightmare Mercenaries, they immediately contacted their spies in the sealed world to investigate whether adventurers' guilds provided mercenary services. Soon the news spread back. The Adventurer Guild did have a mercenary service. Moreover, it had just been released recently. As long as one could afford it, they could hire experts to help them. For example, the first order was the Curse Palace hiring the Nightmare Mercenaries. They had spent a total of 5 billion energy points. This made those people gasp. The exchange of energy points was not simple. 5 billion energy points was definitely an astronomical number. The comparison between the cost and the gain was unimaginable. In the end, everyone could see it clearly. This time the major powers were moved, and even the small powers were completely moved. If they hired experts, would they be able to wipe out the enemy forces? It was just energy points, not anything else. They could easily scrape together the money. After the news spread, the number of people coming to the Adventurer Guild to exchange energy points increased almost non-stop. As a last resort, the Adventurer Guild added more than a dozen exchange machines to ease the flow of people. Now, the entire Holy Realm is talking about the Nightmare Mercenaries. This is really something worth celebrating. Chu Huan congratulated him as soon as she arrived. The impact that Lin Fei had on the Nightmare Mercenaries was already expected. For this group of mercenaries, Lin Fei had spent a lot of effort and got the materials to refine them. It was not easy. Fortunately, he had finally opened the door to the market. This is all thanks to your old rival, the Gui Yuan sect. Without their help, the Nightmare Mercenaries would not have had the chance to perform on stage. Lin Fei said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Chu Huan laughed. At this time, Cursed Thunder came in from outside and said, Father, I just received news that the Gui Yuan sect was actually against us because of the instigation of Holy Lord Tianhuang. Chu Huan and the Gui Yuan sect did not have a good relationship, but the other party would not easily make a move. He had always been puzzled about this. After hearing his eldest son's words, he finally understood. Is this news confirmed? Cursed Thunder nodded. It came from the Gui Yuan sect. Lin Fei understood. No wonder the Gui Yuan sect would make a move on the Curse Palace. It was because of the instigation of Holy Lord Tianhuang. It must be the result of the curse technique when they attacked the Heaven Wasteland Palace last time. The Curse Palace was implicated even though they were not doing anything. Holy Lord Tianhuang is courting death. Chu Huan had mastered the body of 10,000 curses, which was equivalent to stepping into a higher realm. Normally he would be afraid, but now he had the ability to compete with the other party. However, the Gui Yuan sect is too full of themselves. They want to use the Curse Palace as a knife. Do they really think that we are 3-year-old children? Chu Huan had more or less guessed the situation of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Under the attack from both inside and outside, the Heaven Wasteland Palace had lost its deterrent power. Not to mention anything else, the Heaven Wasteland Palace was almost completely exhausted. So how could it suppress them? At this time, the strength of the Curse Palace was obviously stronger than that of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. If they really attacked the Heaven Wasteland Palace, the Heaven Wasteland Palace would definitely not be able to withstand it. Chu Huan did not fall for it. Although he was angry, there was nothing to be afraid of in the current Heaven Wasteland Palace. Brother D, What do you think we should do now? Chu Huan was very concerned about Lin Fei's opinion. I think that Mo Yuan of the Gui Yuan sect must also hate Holy Lord Tianhuang. Why don't we join forces to deal with Holy Lord Tianhuang and give the Gui Yuan sect a way out? Lin Fei said after thinking for a while. Although the Gui Yuan sect had killed 200,000 soldiers, it was still very powerful. The shortcomings of the Curse Palace could not be made up for in a short time. Moreover, the Gui Yuan sect would not start a war in a short time. This would be a peaceful period. Chapter 2281. Di Tian, who was in the sealed world, once again entered everyone's sight. His status skyrocketed, and no one dared to underestimate him anymore. 100,000 nightmare mercenaries had killed 200,000 prefecture soldiers. How terrifying was that? No one knew how many nightmare mercenaries Di Tian had. But no matter how many he had, the young Di Tian had unknowingly gained an undeniable influence in the holy world from the moment the nightmare mercenaries had killed 200,000 prefectural soldiers. Some people even linked it to the civil strife in the Heaven Wasteland domain. There seemed to be a mysterious force that had entered the Heaven Wasteland domain. They were probably the mercenaries from the sealed world. Everyone firmly believed in this conjecture, that Di Tian had a terrifying influence. Spies and even experts who went to the sealed world to understand the mercenaries secretly went there. Perhaps the future of their families could really be built through the mercenaries. While everyone was paying attention to the prefecture cloud domain, the Gui Yuan sect and the Curse Palace sat together and announced that there was a misunderstanding between the two forces and that the mastermind behind all this was Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland. They had decided to attack the Heaven Wasteland Palace. This time, the two forces surprisingly agreed to target Heaven Wasteland Palace. After the news spread, both sides gathered 100,000 prefecture soldiers and charged into Heaven Wasteland domain with murderous intent. The Heaven Wasteland Palace bore the brunt of the attack and was once again attacked by the two forces. The Zong family and the Nether Palace took this opportunity to attack the Heaven Wasteland Palace again. Old man Heaven Wasteland, I didn't expect you to be so sinister. You dared to trick the Gui Yuan sect. Today, I will destroy your Heaven Wasteland Palace. Holy Lord Mo Yuan personally attacked, forcing the Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland to retreat. Mo Yuan was filled with anger at the mention of the Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland. How long would it take for 200,000 prefecture soldiers to recover? He had to vent his anger. The Curse Palace is not that easy to bully. Chu Huan attacked the Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland, slowing down his reaction. Mo Yuan's great Dao pattern attack shattered half of the Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland's body. Damn it! The Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland panicked. They are too strong together. I have to leave immediately. The Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland couldn't care less. If he didn't leave now, he might not have the chance to leave. Poof! Just as the Holy Lord Heaven Wasteland was feeling uneasy, a cold wind blew behind him and a palm imprint landed on his back. His body was badly mutilated. Tianhuang, you're dead this time. Yu Mingzi had made his move. Ever since that war, the Heaven Wasteland Palace's control over Heaven Wasteland domain had almost disappeared. Without the deterrence of the Heaven Wasteland heavenly soldiers, it was obvious that they could not rely on a few giant experts. The Infinite Wasteland Saint Lord panicked as the three supreme experts attacked. None of them were weaker than him. Run. Keep an eye on him. Don't let him escape. Lin Fei did not make a move, but that didn't mean he wouldn't make a move. Ever since the Gui Yuan sect and the Curse Palace had temporarily cooperated, the fate of the Heaven Wasteland Palace had been decided. They would lose control of the Heaven Wasteland domain from then on. With regards to these matters, Lin Fei was not too interested. Instead, he was very interested in the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland. After all, he was a supreme expert who had surpassed the realm of giants. Lin Fei planned to capture the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland, even if he had to sacrifice a corpse, who asked him to not have a peerless expert, even if he was the weakest one. It would be good to use it to restrain the enemy. Ever since the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland escaped, Lin Fei had asked the little demon to keep an eye on him and not lose him no matter what. He believed that Chu Huan and the others would be very happy to kill the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland. A peerless expert would either kill or not do anything. Facing the revenge of a peerless expert was very terrifying. Run, run, run. This was the only thought that the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland had. He had never thought that he would use a borrowed knife to kill someone. In the end, this was the result. If I had known this would be the result, I would not have played this trick. The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland did not dare to fight with them. Every time he fought, he would be injured and consume a part of his strength. And that damned sealed world. Without that bastard, the Curse Palace would have been destroyed by the Gui Yuan sect long ago. It would be a lie if the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland was not angry, especially that bastard Ditian. He wanted to capture him, cut him into pieces, and grind his bones into ashes. No, if this goes on, the situation will be very disadvantageous to me. The Heaven Wasteland domain was not small. For an expert like the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland, there was no place for him to hide. 3 powerful divine senses locked onto him. Even if you want me to die, I won't let you pay the price. The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland was very clear about the current situation. No one was willing to let him go, and they would definitely eliminate him. A chill flashed across his eyes as he turned and fled in another direction. Chu Huan, Mo Yuan, and Yu Mingzi chased after him. Not good! The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland wants the wild sacred mountain, Yu Mingzi exclaimed. We must not let him enter. Although that place is dangerous, it will not be easy for us to kill him once he enters. The wild sacred mountain. It was a very simple word, but in the eyes of these experts, it was still a place full of danger. It was the only sacred place left after the destruction of the wild world. Unfortunately, the battle back then had affected the wild sacred mountain, causing it to become the scariest ancient danger zone in the sacred world. The attacks of the 3 became even more fierce. The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland bitterly endured, and even turned back to threaten them. As long as I don't die, you 3 forces will have to wait for my revenge. At this moment, the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland was covered in blood, and his flesh had been reconstructed countless times. His face was abnormally pale due to his heavy injuries. Grabbing a handful of pills, the sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland swallowed them in large mouthfuls. He finally recovered some Yuan Qi and increased his speed. He ran for his life. The sacred lord of Heaven Wasteland entered a barren area. There was not a single blade of grass in this area, and it was filled with a gloomy aura that made people feel very uncomfortable. This area was the entrance to the wild sacred mountain. According to the ancient records, the wild sacred mountain was the most important earth vein in the wild world, and it connected the entire wild world. At the same time, it was one of the most special creatures in the wild world. After the destruction of the wild world, it was precisely because of the existence of the wild sacred mountain that the 33 sacred heavens was rebuilt. The wild sacred mountain had an unimaginable effect, and even if everyone was filled with endless fear of the wild sacred mountain, they could not erase its contributions. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. As soon as they entered this gloomy area, black wind blades attacked them. Each wind blade had terrifying power, and they were actually at the level of a giant. The void was cut open one after another. Once they entered this area, they had to be careful. Not only did they have to be careful of the black wind blades, they also had to pay attention to the void cracks. Chapter 2282. Seeing that the other party was about to escape into the savage, sacred mountain, Curse Huan could not care less. He took out a scroll and tore it open, shooting a jingguang at Holy Lord Infinite Desolation. Another curse. Holy Lord Infinite Desolation was furious. He struck out a blade radiance, but failed to block the curse. He lost control of his body and could not break free from the curse, even if he mobilized his strength. Good chance. In the eyes of experts like them, any opportunity could cause heavy damage to the other party. Holy Lord Infinite Desolation was unlucky. He was attacked by the three. The moment he was paralyzed, their attacks landed on his body, and he exploded into a bloody mist. I will definitely take revenge on you. Holy Lord Infinite Desolation reformed again. His face was abnormally pale. A doppelganger walked out with a ferocious face and a resentful gaze. It was not just one doppelganger. 7 or 8 doppelgangers walked out. Every time a doppelganger appeared, Holy Lord Infinite Desolation's chi and blood would weaken. After 8 doppelgangers appeared, he had almost become a dried corpse. Go to hell! Boom! Boom! 8 doppelgangers rushed forward, each with the strength of a late giant. The moment they rushed towards them, they revealed a ferocious smile, and all the doppelgangers exploded. Terrifying waves exploded one after another, engulfing the 3 of them in the explosion range. Cough! Cough! We must go in immediately. Holy Lord Infinite Desolation coughed out blood. This was a move that killed 1,000 enemies and 800 allies. In order to enter the savage, sacred mountain, this price was nothing. Once they were entangled, they would definitely die. The overbearing explosion caused a chain reaction. The sky was filled with wind blades, each more terrifying than the last. Wind blades that were 100 meters long and 1,000 meters long also appeared. I miscalculated. This guy actually has such a move. He is even willing to use the power of the great Tao. Kurswan and the other 2 rushed out, faced with the changes caused by the explosion. Their faces were very ugly. The power brought by the explosion of 8 doppelgangers was not that simple. If they were not at the unparalleled realm, they would have suffered a great loss. Old Devil Infinite Desolation is not any better. Mo Yuan coldly snorted. The wild sacred mountain is filled with dangers. Even at your peak, you might not be able to come out safely. Furthermore, he is heavily injured, and only death awaits him. Let's wait here for a month, and we will see the results. The 3 of them nodded. This was a good suggestion. A month was enough time to know whether the Heaven Wasteland Saint Lord was dead or alive. Outside the savage, sacred mountain, the 3 of them sat down cross-legged. Their spiritual senses covered the entire area. Even the slightest change could not escape their eyes. Cough, cough, cough! The sacred Lord of Heaven, Wasteland, self-destructed 8 doppelgangers. His entire body shriveled up like a mummy. Fortunately, he managed to shake them off and barge into the savage, sacred mountain. This was a gloomy space. Everything that entered one's eyes was barren. However, this barren land was filled with unimaginable dangers. If you think I'll die in there, then you're completely wrong. I'm just lucky. I once found an ascetic's cave in the savage, sacred mountain. Sacred Lord Tianhuang revealed a smile on his wrinkled face. Wait for me to recover my strength. I'll definitely cause chaos among the 3 great forces. His eyes flashed with hatred as he took out a map. After staring at it for a moment, he flew in a certain direction. Damn, he still had a trick up his sleeve. Sacred Lord Tianhuang's smugness did not escape Lin Fei's eyes. When the other party self-destructed his doppelgangers, he had quietly followed behind and heard the other party's words. Lin Fei was very clear on the origins of the savage, sacred mountain. He had not read those secret manuals for nothing. He more or less knew the details of the savage, sacred mountain. Back then, this was the most mysterious place in the savage world. Practically every peak faction built their sect on the savage, sacred mountain. This showed how mysterious it was. Master, this space is very strange. You must be careful. Little Evil Demon reminded. Lin Fei did not dare to be careless. He had seen the changes of the three supreme experts. Follow them. With sacred Lord Tianhuang leading the way, Lin Fei was much more at ease. At the very least, he did not have to worry about running into danger. The dangers of the savage, sacred mountain had exceeded Lin Fei's imagination. For example, the formless spatial cracks were terrifying. Sacred Lord Tianhuang had almost fallen into them several times, and their power was no weaker than a late-stage giant. Lin Fei followed Sacred Lord Tianhuang closely. For the other party, he had to follow no matter how dangerous it was. He had to risk it all for the other party. Sacred Lord Tianhuang was very careful along the way, but he still encountered many dangers. This was with the help of the map. Otherwise, he would not even know how he died. Soon. He took out a large amount of pills and swallowed them. After resting for a moment, Sacred Lord Tianhuang continued forward. Along the way, he stopped from time to time. After 3 days, he arrived at a mountain range. The mountains here were all black, and every single one of them exuded a majestic aura, as if they were supreme experts. Sacred Lord Tianhuang's complexion had recovered a lot after 3 days, but it was not much better. The loss of 8 doppelgangers self-destructing was unimaginable. It's on one of these mountains. Sacred Lord Tianhuang had come here by coincidence, and after searching for a while, he finally found a huge mountain and groped his way up. Sacred Lord Tianhuang carefully examined the uneven mountain wall and finally revealed a smile. It's here! He could recognize the marks left behind with a single glance. Open. Hand seals struck the stone wall, and the originally calm stone wall began to radiate light in all directions. Runes appeared one after another, and after a loud rumble, a human-sized hole appeared on the stone wall. After so many dangers along the way, Sacred Lord Tianhuang had completely let down his guard. As long as he could rest here for a period of time, he would be able to recover some of his strength. At that time, it would be the time for the 3 major forces to suffer. The revenge of a supreme expert was unimaginable. As long as the upper echelons of a force were killed, it would be like cutting off an arm of the other party, and they would not be able to recover for a long time. Now, Lin Fei had been looking for an opportunity, but unfortunately, the other party was extremely vigilant. Even if he was in a hurry, he would still be careful. Without an absolute opportunity, Lin Fei did not make a move. The little fiend had been monitoring Sacred Lord Tianhuang, and when the other party let down his guard, Lin Fei knew that his chance had come, a perfect opportunity. Therefore, Lin Fei made his move. Curse technique, meteor rain. Curse technique, numb. Lin Fei appeared out of nowhere, and a large amount of origin energy was instantly consumed. Drops of fire appeared around Sacred Lord Heaven Wasteland, and when they landed on his body, they immediately created a bloody hole. Pft, 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 pft. Every drop of fire that landed on Sacred Lord Tianhuang's body quickly turned into a sieve, and there was not a single part of his body that was intact. Chapter 2283. Today's update, and at the same time, pull some votes for the Qijian 5/15 Fan Festival. Everyone has 8 votes, and the votes will also send some coins, begging for everyone's support and praise. Pft, pft, pft. Streaks of meteors rained down on Holy Lord Heavenly Wasteland's body, causing flesh and blood to pour out. In addition to the large attack range of the meteor rain, Holy Lord Heavenly Wasteland was almost unable to escape the attack range. Every meteor rain attack consumed a large amount of Holy Lord Heavenly Wasteland's energy. Under the continuous rain of attacks, Holy Lord Heavenly Wasteland's injuries rapidly worsened, and his face became abnormally pale. You guessed it right. Unfortunately, there's no reward. Lin Fei laughed out loud and used another curse technique to paralyze him. Holy Lord Heavenly Wasteland, who had just pulled away, immediately lost control of his body and suffered another heavy injury. The sacred transformation realm is indeed not simple. Ordinary people would have died under this kind of attack long ago. Lin Fei attacked with all his might, and with a wave of his hand, the giant puppet appeared. Explode! Boom! Boom! Every single, peerless expert was extremely powerful. Even if it was only the first small realm, they could not be underestimated. Lin Fei naturally would not let his guard down. After the curse technique attacked, he used the giant puppet to self-destruct. Damn it, the giant self-destruct. Holy Lord, Heavenly Wasteland was hit by a terrifying force. His injuries were severe, and it was extremely difficult for him to resist. How can he make the giant self-destruct? How can he do this? How terrifying was the self-destruction of a giant. To Lin Fei, the self-destruction of the giant puppet was nothing. To be able to capture a peerless expert, the harvest was much greater than the cost. The huge impact of the self-destruction consumed the power of the great Tao behind Holy Lord, Heavenly Wasteland every time. More importantly, it came wave after wave, which was not something an ordinary person could accept. Cough, cough, cough. Holy Lord, Heavenly Wasteland continuously vomited blood. The great Tao patterns behind him shrunk by a large amount and were no longer as powerful as before. The 10th giant puppet self-destructed. Holy Lord, Heavenly Wasteland was sent flying and crashed into the rock wall behind him. Under this kind of impact, the rock wall was as hard as a boulder and did not move at all. When he was at his peak, Holy Lord, Heavenly Wasteland would definitely not be as powerless as he was now when dealing with the self-destruction of such a giant puppet. His vitality was greatly damaged. Cough, cough, cough. Holy Lord, Infinite Wasteland vomited blood again. Everyone was fooled by you. I didn't expect you to have the courage to blow up 10 giants in one go. Cough, cough. Sacred Lord Tian Desolate leaned against the wall and said weakly, "Thank you for the compliment." Lin Fei did not relax. Then he summoned another giant puppet and charged forward with a puppet insect needle. Without saying a word, he injected the puppet insect into the other party's body. Tian, you bastard! What exactly did you do to me? The sacred lord of infinite desolation started to panic. He felt as if his head was about to explode and his eyes lost their color. He soon regained his senses. Ha ha ha! Your things are useless to me. Lin Fei frowned slightly. The unparalleled realm is really powerful to be able to resist the puppet worm's invasion. Curse, paralyze. Activating the incantation with origin energy, the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland lost control of his body. This time, the amount of origin energy consumed was much greater, and the duration was much longer. Again, the puppet worm once again entered the other party's body. Aha! It hurts so much, I'm convinced. I'm really convinced. In front of the wall, the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland's entire body was convulsing, and his face was pale. When he finished his last sentence, the heart-wrenching pain gradually disappeared. As long as you have the slightest dissatisfaction towards me, or even a trace of killing intent, as long as it involves me, the puppet worm in your body will launch an attack. After every attack, you are one step closer to death. You must understand that. Lin Fei said with a smile. In order to control the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland, Lin Fei spent a lot of money, and at the same time, left a trace of origin energy in the puppet worm, enough to kill the other party. The Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland seemed to have lost all his strength. He knew that the other party was right. As long as he had a thought, the puppet worm in his mind would react. I'm convinced. The Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland adapted quickly. He never wanted to experience that kind of pain again in his life. After successfully controlling the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland, Lin Fei was happier and more excited than anyone else. He finally had a peerless expert by his side, and after consuming 10 giant puppets, the harvest was unimaginable. This was also Lin Fei's good luck. If he was at his peak, the self-detonation of 10 giant puppets might not have succeeded. You discovered this place back then? Inside the rock wall was actually a cave dwelling. The cave dwelling was very simple, and it fulfilled the meaning of the word ascetic. The Holy Master of Heaven, Wasteland, became honest. Yes, these mountains all contain the essence of heaven and earth, and are not attacked by the power of the savage, sacred mountain. When I found it, this cave dwelling was empty, essence of heaven and earth. Lin Fei really didn't notice this. These mountains were bare, and at a glance they looked very ordinary, as if they had nothing to do with the essence of heaven and earth. Scan. The words of the Holy Master of Heaven, Wasteland, piqued Lin Fei's interest in these black mountains. 1,000-star obsidian stone. Excellent quality, can be used to refine weapons, half-step giant weapons. This result more or less surprised Lin Fei. Whether it was the heavy spearmen or the nightmare mercenaries, the weapons in their hands were half-step giant level, or, to put it bluntly, pseudo-giant level weapons. They were incomparably sharp, and on the battlefield, they were superior to their opponents. These weapons had always been difficult to find, and it was a big gap for Lin Fei. If the Battle Emperor army could be matched with these pseudo-giant level weapons, they would be invincible on the battlefield. This accidental discovery made Lin Fei really want to thank the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland. With this source of materials, he would be able to continuously produce pseudo-giant level weapons. Not bad, you did a good thing. Lin Fei waved his hand like a blade and slashed at the rock wall. A surprising scene appeared. The rock wall didn't move at all, and only a white line was left on it. The Holy Master of Heaven, Wasteland, didn't dare to mock him. Your Majesty, this material comes from the savage, sacred mountain, and is extremely hard. Ordinary people can't break it at all. Rumor has it that only third-step experts can break it. That's not necessarily true. Lin Fei was very clear about the significance of the third step. In the entire sacred world, there were probably only a few third-step experts. The unparalleled realm had a total of 5 small realms. People rarely divided them by small realms and usually called them the first step, the second step, and so on. For example, the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland was the first step, the sacred transformation small realm. After controlling the Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland, although he was only a first-step expert, Lin Fei had to show his powerful side. Another slash, and the blade light slashed the rock wall. But this time it was different. The Holy Master of Heaven Wasteland's eyes widened, and he was tongue-tied. You're a third-step expert? A piece of the hard rock wall was forcefully cut off. The place that was split open was as smooth as a painting, and stars appeared, extremely dazzling. Lin Fei smiled without saying a word, but his heart ached. Damn it, the origin energy can't be spent. Master, let me tell you a piece of good news. After Lin Fei showed off for a while, the little demon delivered a piece of good news.